Hey, it's Josh Williams here, and welcome to another bonus episode of the One Man Podcast, brought to you by AbsoluteComedy.ca for clubs in Ottawa, Toronto, and Kingston, Ontario. Check out AbsoluteComedy.ca for tickets and showtimes and lineups and all that fun information. And speaking of which, this week my guest is actually headlining the Ottawa Club, so if you hear this when it drops, you have a chance to see him. Casey Corbin, good buddy of mine. We've worked together many times, and for many years, we always have a good time, have some laughs, and this week we just get together and shoot the shit, tell some fun stories. Casey talks about a Broadway show he saw in New York, talks about a TMZ tour he took in Los Angeles. We get chatting about documentaries and Michael Jackson. He tells a story about how when Richard Dreyfuss popped into Absolute Comedy in Toronto to do stand-up comedy. And I think even we rounded off by talking about, Saturday Night Live and some of our favorite cast members over the years and things that they've done since. It's honestly, it's just two buddies having a good time shooting the shit about comedy and funny stories and things like that. I hope you enjoy. Just to mention as well, Casey has 3 comedy albums available. He's got Turtle Crossing, Vampires Are Popular, and the most recent album that he just released in the fall called Different Jokes. So check those out. If you guys enjoy this episode, go see him live. He's a great comic. Check out the albums. You'll have some laughs. And I hope you guys enjoy listening to our conversation.
Yeah!
I thought it was going to cut my legs off.
Really?
I was afraid. I was like, this is uncomfortable.
It's funny too, because I had assumed that by now at some point you'd been, tried one somewhere in a Good Life or something like that.
No, I've never been in Good Life.
No?
I already have one. Why would I need a membership to someone to their Good Life?
That's where I'm going to go after this. I have to go to the gym. Yeah, but they have 2 of the massage chairs right in the front. At least a lot of the locations I've seen, right in the front area, they've got a massage chair afterwards, which I think is a little gross because there's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
But more so the fact that they've just been sweating. And you assume a lot of people, like, you're going to have fluid left over for one of 2 reasons. One, somebody who hasn't showered afterwards and they're just sitting there sweating in the chair. Yeah. Or they just got out of the shower and they're probably still a little moist or clammy.
I don't think you need a massage after you work out right away.
Probably not.
Probably not. I don't think so. I just think it's dumb.
Well, thanks for coming to sit down and chat with me. I have no agenda for this.
I didn't even know we started.
Yeah, dude, I'm still learning. Like, you're probably the third one that I just sort of, rather than intro you all throughout the opening, we just start chatting. I hit record and
that's all right. That's good. Yeah. I like that.
Who knows how it'll sound? Now, I've given myself more work by doing that, but it sounds a little more organic, a little more like a professional interview.
Yeah, it sounds like it sounds normal to me. I can hear it in my ears, and I can hear it. It sounds good. This doesn't it sound good? You driving the car? I think it sounds great.
I think my listeners aren't doing that well. They don't have cars. Sounds good on the bus.
I'm kidding. How do you have those iPod earphones that just stick out of your ears? How do they sound?
With no wires? The pods,
no wires.
AirPods?
Yeah.
I hate anything in my ears. I've never been an earbuds guy ever.
Yeah.
I got AirPods because I had Apple credit that I had all the other stuff. So I'm like, oh fuck, give me.
Yeah.
I'll take those pod things. Amazing. I don't leave the house without them.
Really?
It's unbelievable. Yeah. They looked to me. I'm like, oh, that's a $200 thing that can just fall out of your ear and you lose it. They never budge. They stay in your ears. They're very intuitive too. If you pull one out, it pauses what you're listening to. So
see, I didn't even know. All I've heard is the negative news stories about these things, that kids are eating them. The pods.
The pods,
yeah, they're eating them.
It's a very expensive habit,
and I don't know why they eat them. I don't know. They must be crunchy as fuck, but they eat these pods, and that's that. That's the new thing.
They have these experiences. They're like, you don't even understand.
Yeah, I got a Tide Pod. And I never ate it though. I used it to wash my clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it in the mail?
Yeah, you get them in the mail. Used to get
VIP samples.
Used to get tampons in the mail. Now you get Tide Pods in the mail. So,
one is to prevent the mess. One is to clean up the mess afterwards.
Yeah. One's to get rid of the leftover water. Yeah. You just throw it down and leave it in.
See, their motto is the opposite. An ounce of solution is worth a pound of prevention, or whatever it is. Or
That's ridiculous. I would never.
I know they say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, but they do it the opposite.
I would never be I never like, even if I got a tampon in the mail, I'd be like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that? I always like Mike Beatty's joke about the cardboard flute or whatever
the cardboard,
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that time my mother explained to me what that cardboard kazoo I had found was?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, really? I better go brush my teeth. Yeah, that still makes me laugh.
Yeah, that's always a good joke. Good times.
So you're here, you've been here, you were here last week, you were hosting, you're headlining this week at Absolute Comedy in Ottawa.
Yeah, last week was with Arthur Simeon, who's a beast, and it was a good show. It was just a strong show. I don't even remember who the middle was, to be honest, and I worked the whole week with them.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, I can't remember right now. It's out of my mind. I don't even know who it was.
Do you want me to Google it? I can't remember.
No.
I see it. I won't say, but I'm certainly curious as to who it would have been that was on the show. And you're headlining this week. I like to do these on Thursdays. So for anyone who's listening, if you're listening 6 months from now, you've long since missed your chance.
Well, you haven't.
Well, they'll see you again.
In 6 months from if you're listening 6 months from now, in another 6 months, I'll be there. Right. So,
but they're at the furthest possible point for you that they could be.
Yeah, possibly.
Just missed you as much and are furthest from you. What the fuck? I'm trying to find the goddamn.
I'm always
angry.
Who was the middle?
No, like I'm trying to scroll on the goddamn website and see.
It was two people. Now I remember: Sean Carson and Kathy Boyd.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, I had to think about it.
Yeah. So it being Thursday, this is your first day with your middle for this week. So your middle hasn't got here yet. Or have they arrived?
No, Jen has not got here yet.
Who is it? Oh, Jen Siccato.
Jen Siccato.
Yeah.
Who's very funny.
Yeah. No, Jen's great. Okay, that's gonna be good. I'm gonna have to try to pop in this weekend. I'm out of town both Friday and Saturday night doing shows.
Yeah. Where are you doing shows?
Cornwall. I'm not bragging.
Is there still Cornwall shows?
Well, one-nighters. They booked like 6 months ago. I'm there with myself, Jeff Leeson, and Wofford.
Oh, that's good. Jeff Leeson's great.
Yeah?
I love Jeff Leeson.
I love Jeff too. Jeff was on the podcast, and I don't know if you know this about Jeff. It was almost like it was crazy. It's almost like, when you talk to a Mormon, then they'll tell you about like all the things they don't do.
Yeah.
Besides fuck like multiple wives.
Yeah.
Which is, I almost think that they banked everything. You know what I mean? Like a kid who wants to buy candy with his allowance and he saves up and he just buys a video game system. I feel like that's what Mormons have done with polygamy. They're like, all right, we won't do all this stuff, but we can get away with multiple wives.
Yeah.
Like, that seems amazing. Anyways, Jeff has never seen like 99% of movies. Like we sat here and it's like, even dude, in just regular conversation, like when you and I are chatting and we'll throw like a little reference, like they were just going over his head. Like, and I remember at first I was saying like, in such and such. And he's like, no, and then he goes, I've actually never seen movies. Like, dude, he's watched The Simpsons and he's seen like Ace Ventura, the two Ace Ventura movies, like 20 times, but he's never seen like Jurassic Park, E.T., Back to the Future. Like you think like iconic Goodfellas, Jaws, like you name it.
Now
any
this
iconic
is so weird
pop
that you
culture
say,
movie.
Because we were doing a show together a couple of years ago at Absolute in Toronto in September during Comic-Con, and Comic-Con ended and Richard Dreyfuss came to the club to do a set.
I remember that picture. I saw the picture.
And it was very funny because like, now we knew Thursday because like Sean came up to me, the club manager, and he said, Richard Dreyfuss might be coming by Sunday. He may or may not be doing a set. Okay. I was like, Richard Dreyfuss?
Yeah.
Like,
who's that? Not Jaws.
Like Robin Williams, I could expect,
right?
But he's dead. But like, give me a comedian, like a comedian actor. Richard Dreyfuss is not a comedian.
Right.
And so I was like,
but is he doing that thing where now he's trying to become a comic?
Well,
for relevance?
I'll give you the story and just let it happen.
Okay.
So, what happened was, I said, what do you mean he's gonna may or may not do a set? Is he coming or what is he coming? Sean's like, I don't know. They just said he may or may not. And I was like, well, if he's gonna do a set, we're gonna need a bigger show. And then Sean goes, no, everybody just sticks to the time and we'll be fine. And I'm like, yeah, no, Sean, we're going to need a bigger show. We're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
It's Jaws.
Yeah. And I'm sure if Leeson was standing there, he too would have gone right over his head. And he'd be like,
he didn't even know. So then sure enough, the Sunday night, Richard Dreyfuss comes in and he's sitting there, and I was like, is he doing a set? Is he doing a set? Is he doing a set, Sean? What's going on? Sean's like, I don't know.
But he was there at this point.
He's there,
Yeah, okay.
and he's with his people, and he's watching the show, and I'm on the stage at this point. This is the point where we're supposed to bring him up. I was like, so is this happening or not? And then I could see him start getting up, and they're like, yes, it's happening. I was like, all right, folks. I could see him working his way. I was like, your next performer is you might have seen him in such comedies such as What About Bob and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You know?
Yeah.
And I said, please welcome to the stage the one and only Richard Dreyfuss. Everybody goes nuts.
Yeah.
People go nuts. And he does 15 minutes. And I can tell you one thing from watching Richard Dreyfuss do comedy is he might be a fucking fantastic actor, but I am a way better comedian than Richard Dreyfuss. And I have no problem saying that. Way better.
Yeah.
And
did he do like did they give him that 5-minute grace period where they're chuckling? But
yes,
then it's kind of like
they did. He did some jokes about dating when he was younger that were pretty funny because he used to be like a really fucking cockslayer, you know, like he was a really ladies' man back when he was single. He talked about Trump, you know, anti-Trump stuff, did some anti-Trump stuff. He said he's up in Canada doing autograph signings and then he pulled out like a roll of money that just cash, you know, like a elastic around it. He's like, you know, and, but I'll tell you when I helped him onto the stage.
Oh, you had to help him on stage?
Well, yeah, because he was coming through the crowd. It was packed.
Okay.
It was packed, and he is an old man. You forget he doesn't. He looks like Richard Dreyfuss, but when I helped him on stage, it was like helping my grandfather. It had that same feel, and I'm like, oh my god, that's when I realized how old
But he was able
is.
to lift that stack of cash with no effort.
With no effort. Yeah.
He's playing possum. That fucking.
Oh, so yeah. So anyway, afterwards, I was like, did that just happen? So no. So Jeff goes, why do you think he's here? And I don't know why I make him sound like DeBonis, but Mark DeBonis, another comedian. But he's like, why do you think he's here? And I'm like, well, clearly he's got a part in the movie where he probably plays a comedian who's a has-been, but maybe he's gonna die soon, so he comes back for one last run, and he makes a run, and that's the movie. Like that's probably a movie. And I said, and if he's a good comedian, he's probably going to steal your jokes. And if he's a bad comedian, he's here to steal my jokes. And then, so sure enough, while he was on stage, he goes, yeah, well, you're probably wondering why I'm doing this. Well, I want to know what it feels like to be like a comic because I'm doing a movie where I'm playing a comic who's in his elder ages and he's still doing stand-up. And I was like,
You're just checking off the boxes.
Leeson is looking at me like, oh my God, I can't believe you called it. I'm like, well, what else would he be doing here? So I believe the extra I gave him is like, did the star of Stakeout just show up here as on a stakeout? Because he was going to learn to see what comedy was like, so he was there on the stakeout. And I don't even think I said stakeout. I said the star of Stakeout 2.
That's funny too. If you go with the sequel,
and go with the sequel. I was like, "Where is Rosie O'Donnell, by the way?" You know, so she replaced Emilio Estevez.
The funny thing too is that, like, all of that shit would go right over Leeson's head. All the references.
Oh yeah, at one point I was like, "Hey Jeff, look at it. He's over there playing with his mashed potatoes." You know, he didn't get it. Like making the mountain. You know, like yeah. I was making Dreyfuss jokes all night. I come to think of it, nobody was laughing at them.
I love. Well, you make in your act. I don't know if you do it still here and there at the corporates or whatever. Because I know you turn over material. The Harrison Ford stuff. The way you'll just do that. You know what I mean? Like, and over the course of an act, blah blah blah. Whoever that guy was, and it's always a Harrison Ford reference.
Yeah, I love doing Harrison Ford jokes,
and they're so funny. I laugh every time. It's but yeah, like that kind of thing. Like, it was funny just sitting with him and chatting. At first, I was trying to talk about a movie he hadn't seen. And I was like, oh, well, you know that scene? And he's like, no. And that's when he's like, I haven't really seen a lot of stuff. And then just over the course of conversation, like, you don't even realize how many pop culture references we make in day-to-day conversation until every time I made one.
Yeah.
And I go, you're fucking kidding. He goes, just smiles and shrugs.
Probably,
I'm like, how do you live your life and never see the biggest things? Like, I haven't seen Footloose. I haven't seen Grease. I mean, it sounds very genre-y, but I haven't seen Footloose. I haven't seen Grease. I didn't see Dirty Dancing until like 2 years ago.
So you have a problem with dancing. You don't like movies with dancing.
I think I have a personal problem with movement. And excessive movement is exhausting to me to look at.
But you just named 3 dancing movies.
Yeah.
3 movies that involve dance.
But I'm trying to think of like the big ones. Like I probably brought it up on Jeff's, but I didn't see a lot of the big action movies until later in life. Like I remember there was maybe like a 1 or 2 month period. I was working at Future Shop and I was just buying DVDs.
Yeah.
And then it was right around the time where all these box sets were coming out.
Yeah.
And I think it was probably, come to think of it just now, is that Blu-ray and HD DVD were just coming in. And I think that there was a lot of DVDs were like, okay, they're going to go. We got to sell these, throw them in a box set and we'll hike it out that way.
Yeah.
But I was buying like Die Hard box sets, Alien box sets.
Yeah. I have all these box sets in VHS. They're way bigger.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing when they were big, right? But I can't, I hadn't seen them. All these action movies, The Rock, like all these, I don't want to say Nicolas Cage, but like Sean Connery action movies, all these.
No, that's a Nicolas Cage action movie too.
The Rock, I know, but I was like, I was watching all these Nicolas Cage action movies. No, I was not. I did not watch Con Air or any of that shit.
Con Air's all right.
Is it?
Yeah, it's all right. It's not as good as The Rock. It followed The Rock.
But that's the thing. And it's
The
funny.
Rock is fantastic.
Well, it was funny because watching all of these period, like movies from a certain time period all at once. And it was funny how, you know that like, I think his name's Michael Bain or Bien or whatever. Do you know who that is?
No.
I was just in this series of watching these 80s action movies and he was in all of them. Like I wasn't following his career. I just happened to be watching all these movies that came out years before. And he's in The Rock. He's in Aliens. He's in, I think another one I watched, Tombstone.
Yeah.
Like I was just watching all these and then I'm like, fuck, this guy's in fucking, he also played Reese in Terminator, but I had seen that before.
Oh, yeah.
So like he's in all of this. I'm like, this guy was like fucking 80s action guy, like late 80s, early 90s. We're making an action movie, get Michael Bain in it, whatever. He's nothing now.
Yeah.
Except he had a cameo. This years later, he had a cameo in Planet Terror. He played the sheriff.
Yeah.
In Planet Terror.
But isn't it crazy how he's the star? Like he's the star of Terminator. He's the hero, yet nobody remembers him.
Exactly.
Because it's all about Arnold. Like, isn't that insane?
Yeah. Well, they realized that in the second one. They're like, make Arnold the hero, and then just move forward with that.
Yeah, we're gonna recall Reese as, like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, and like, so there's a comedian in Montreal by the name of Reese.
Yes, Reese Turner.
Yeah, Reese Turner. And I said, Reese is a very unique name. He's like, yeah. And I was like, when were you born? He's like, 84. And I was like, oh my God. He's like, what? I was like, your dad named you after the fucking Terminator movie. He's like, what? I'm like, you were born in 84. That's when Terminator came out. Your dad must love the name Reese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, what? Is he fucking big peanut butter cup guy? Like, no, he liked the name Reese and then Terminator. And that's how people get names. Like, they like movie names.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, Gwyneth Paltrow named her kid Apple because she liked...
money? Her stock's going up?
She liked fruit. So...
Well, my friend, I don't know. I don't think you guys would know each other. I don't know why. I'm just like, you're both from Ottawa.
I can know people from Ottawa.
I know. My buddy, my friend Patrick Gardner, his older brother... Why can't I think? Sasha
Baron.
No.
Corbin.
Sasha Baron Corbin.
That's why I went out for Halloween one year. No, I didn't. I never did.
Fun. That'd be a funny fucking costume. I think his name's Sasha Morazan is his name.
Okay.
But he owns one of the lighting companies that does like the Sound and Light show, Blues Fest, all these things like that. Like he's very successful at it. And he's a much older brother. But he's a big X-Men fan. Mm-hmm. And he's got 2 kids. Like one of them is named Logan Xavier.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other one is like Lucius something other, But it's like, it's like people actually naming their kids after comic books. And I'm like,
Can you
You
imagine?
do it, but you name your kids after what you like.
Like, can you imagine if you named your kids after artists, but you had no idea about the Ninja Turtles, and you coincidentally named your 4 kids the same name as the Ninja Turtles, and everybody thought it was the Ninja Turtles, and you just got mad because it was always about the artists? You're like, Leonardo,
the source material.
DiCaprio is an artist. You're like, that's not wrong. He's like, he is an artist.
Da Vinci?
Oh, is it Da Vinci?
Leonardo Da Vinci.
Well, I cracked the Da Vinci code, and the answer is DiCaprio. It's Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's who are the other ones? Donatello,
Raphael, Michelangelo.
Yeah,
but it's funny because I didn't know who any of those artists were until years later.
The Renaissance painters and sculptors and artists.
Well,
I knew that. Though.
I know what they do now, but at the time when I was a kid, I'm like, those are the motherfucking Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Raphael, I think, is Raphael and Donatello I know the least about. Michelangelo, Sistine Chapel, and of course all the works of Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did Michelangelo have a last name? I wouldn't know what it is.
Well, no, but he was famous for eating microwave pizza and microwave food.
Microwaves long after their existence.
Yeah, he did it long after. Well, Leonardo.
He was ahead of his time.
Leonardo created a microwave. He did. He was he was an inventor.
And then he buried it in the fucking desert, which is what Tom Hanks was looking for.
Well, they were
an ancient artifact.
A lot of them buried their meat at the time to keep well, so he was buried in his microwave with the meat. And
we're not on mushrooms or anything, by the way.
No, but we are talking about Donatello and Raphael and Michelangelo, and they're all artists, and they're all also turtles. And they're ninjas as well. So Richard Dreyfuss ended up in a movie that's on Netflix where he plays a guy in an old age home, and Chevy Chase is his agent. They break him out and they go out on one last tour.
Nice.
And he's trying to book him on the Tonight Show, but they fail. And Mary and Ted Danson's wife's in the movie, and she becomes the love interest of someone. But that's the movie.
Did you watch it?
I did watch it because I had to see if any of my fucking jokes were in it.
Oh. Hey, you never know. They could have been on the cutting room floor.
Yeah,
he might have fucking.
They probably are.
Didn't do it.
They're like, we can't do this many Harrison Ford jokes in a movie. Like,
you also can't tell a bunch of shitty jokes and then all of a sudden have a good one and then a bunch of bad ones again. It doesn't fit.
But that's what I do. Yeah. See, so you realize that like when Leeson watches The Simpsons, he misses half of the pop culture references.
Yeah.
Or he watches a Family Guy and he won't get half the jokes.
Right.
He'll be like, "Oh, that happened on Family Guy." No, that's Batman.
Yeah. Well, that's the fascinating thing.
He doesn't even know that Adam West is Batman.
Well, here's the thing. He knew. I think he knew Animaniacs because he was like, I'd watch cartoons.
Yeah.
But I tried to explain to him, like, well, you know the good feathers, the stupid pigeons. I go, what do you mean this and the? I'm like, that's good fellas. The good feathers were good fellas. And there's a whole play on that. Like, I'm trying to all these different things he watched. I go, yeah, that was this, and I've never seen it. I go, you're a comic. You're on the road. You have time to watch a movie during the day.
Yeah.
To get caught up with these.
He doesn't even write jokes.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like
where is his time? What's he do? Actually, he hustles and books gigs is what he does.
Yeah. No, he's definitely a hardworking dude, but it's just, dude, how do you not know? There's time to kill, especially every now and again. Like I don't sit around watching movies at home, but I definitely go to the movies a lot. It's like the only time I can.
I love going to movies.
It's fantastic.
But they're too comfortable now. That's the problem. Because my thing is always get stoned, then get a big meal at the movie theater. You go in, you eat everything. The movie starts. You watch the movie. I've been going to a lot of Rainbow cinemas.
Okay.
Because they're not comfortable. They're very uncomfortable seats. They're like the 80s. I can't go to these fucking lazy boy chairs where you're just like you're in a lazy boy chair in a dark theater with a full stomach and you're stoned and you know what happens? I sleep. That's what happens. I have to go to the movies where you're uncomfortable for the movie so you can watch the movie. That's the whole thing behind I don't know if I can mention
whatever you want.
Can you say Breslin in this house?
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. One of the good things Mark did was he realized uncomfortable seating and a cold room will keep people awake and alert during a comedy show. And that's Letterman. He kept his room cold. I'm sure his theater seats were not the most comfortable.
Right.
Because you don't want people getting comfortable because then they'll doze off. So, yeah. So
I feel like that, but coming from here's the thing, coming from a really good businessman, I'd buy it 100%. Coming from Breslin, I feel like he didn't want to fork out the money to turn on the heat or to buy new chairs. Do you know what I mean? He's like, it's cheaper for me to make an excuse than it is to replace
But
them.
it's right. I do believe it's right.
I was at Kimmel. Kimmel was warm and the seats were comfortable.
Well, that's Kimmel.
But they
He's
also
a
have
warm and
good guests.
He's a warm and comfortable show.
Yeah.
He doesn't take any chances.
Yeah, it's actually fun to watch too. I don't find it boring. I mean, I'm not trying to shit on any show that I would ever do, but I'm not a big fan of these late night shows that all they are is singing and dancing and impressions.
Well,
Does that make sense? Like, hey, I got a celebrity on, and we're going to do impressions of other celebrities. It's like, what? Just talk to them.
Why don't you just say you don't like Jimmy Fallon?
Well, I don't, because I don't like James Corden either.
Oh, you don't like James Corden? Yeah.
Well, they just sit in a car and sing songs. Like, I don't care.
Well,
I don't care.
that's just ripping off comedians in cars.
Yeah, you think so?
Oh,
No, they're not singing in the comedians in cars.
No, they're doing jokes.
Are they?
Yes, they're having comedy conversations.
Yeah, in comedians in cars. I'm saying Corden, they're just singing. It's like, we got Adele here, and she's singing her song in the car. We have Mariah Carey, and she's singing someone else. Like, we're just like, I don't care.
Yeah,
Some people love it, and I'm not trying to be judgmental. I don't like it. So I'm like, at least with Kimmel, I
just don't like him.
Yeah.
He's fake. He's an asshole. He's notorious.
Is he really?
Yes, you can Google, Google about him in England. And realize what he was like in England before he moved to America.
Was he jerking off in hotel rooms in front of people?
No, he was just an asshole.
Yeah.
And I know people that know him and have worked with him on things, and they've told me he's an asshole. Yeah. And so I was like, yeah. But his karaoke carpool with Paul McCartney was one of the best things that was just fantastic. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate when he's like, oh, I want to sing with Queen. So he gets to sing a song with Queen. I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate people that use their shows to live out their dreams.
Own agendas, yeah.
Whereas Fallon is the Tonight Show's entertaining towards the market that he's entertaining.
Right. I feel like he's Ellen at night.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's what I want. I don't want to listen to Jimmy Kimmel fucking talk politics every fucking episode.
No, I don't either. I look at, this is what I like about Kimmel, because I don't watch TV. So I don't see them live anyways. I'm not like every night this is my show.
Yeah.
I know that for some people all of these are. I see the YouTube clips where it's like segments.
Yeah, that's what I like to watch too.
Yeah. So I like Kimmel's segments much better than the other ones. Like, I like the celebrities read mean tweets. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's a great gag. Yeah.
I love the we ate all your candy from Halloween. You know what I mean? So I like the Kimmel segments where if you go to Fallon, what are you going to see? Probably a celebrity doing an impression of another celebrity. Probably a dance off between two celebrities. Probably, it's always.
What about when they
singing
crash?
and
What
dancing.
about when they crash eggs on their heads?
I haven't seen that.
Oh, that's good.
So as far as I'm concerned, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, as far as I knew, all it is singing and dancing with celebrities, because that's all the stuff that ever comes up on YouTube. So I find it that I guess that's what it is, and it goes back to my I've never seen Grease, Footloose. Maybe I just really maybe I hate singing and dancing.
Singing and dancing.
I think could be. I might have a thing against it. I didn't think I did. I don't mind musicals. I love Book of Mormon.
That's not really a musical, though.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah. So, I guess South Park.
They won the Tony for it.
Bigger, Badder, and Better is also a musical.
Yeah. Well,
100%.
here's the thing too, is that Trey Parker is a big musical background guy, and all of the stuff they tried to make, the Bigger, Longer, Uncut, that was musical. Team America had a lot of musical moments in it. And of course, Book of Mormon, a giant musical. They actually wrote that with the Avenue Q guy.
I don't even know who Avenue Q is.
So you know that Broadway show where it's like a fucked up raw Sesame Street?
No.
Oh, you never heard of it?
No.
It's a musical called Avenue Q, and it's like, think of Sesame Street if it was like R-rated and stuff. And it was like immensely popular. And it was funny because one night after, I think that they went to go see Avenue Q, and the guy found out, like the director or whatever, found out that Trey Parker, Matt Stone were there, so he wanted to meet them afterwards. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure on the details of how they met, but they met after them seeing Avenue Q.
Okay.
They were sitting down there like, hey man, that was great, blah, blah, blah. And they're chatting about how they wanted to write a musical. And they're like, so what's next for you? He's like, well, you know what? I've always wanted to write a musical about like, Robert Smith and Mormons. And they're like, we have always wanted to write a musical. And so they decided, let's do this together then. Yeah. And they came up with Book of Mormon, which of course won the Tony for Best Musical.
Yeah.
The year it came out, and it was just unbelievably well received. But they always write this dumb shit, and it's funny because when South Park did the musical Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, then all of a sudden Family Guy, every episode had to have a musical number. And,
well, Family Guy's nothing original about it anyways.
Yeah.
But, for a while, Seth MacFarlane was popular in Hollywood because he threw really good parties.
Oh, really? That's why?
That's around the time where he got to host the Oscars.
Right.
Yeah, around that time, because I'd heard from people like, oh, yeah, he hosts really good parties. His parties are really good. Which is funny because like a couple of years before that, he was at the MMVAs, the Much Music Video Awards, and he was by himself. And he was just there, and nobody was talking to him. And like, I remember Eddie Delaselfi was like, "Hey, aren't you,
Eddie Delaselfi?
Yeah, and they got a selfie together. So that was something. But Footloose doesn't have a lot of sing-alongs together.
It's just more about the dance. Footloose is more about a town that's band dancing.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is there's very little dancing in Footloose. It's band.
Yeah,
it's not till the end there's dancing.
Where he's like, nobody puts baby in a corner.
Well, that's dirty dancing. That's like
that would be funny if I did a take on what I think these movies are like, and I just mash Grease, Footloose, and Dirty Dancing together.
Yeah, and Grease doesn't really stand up as much as that because there's a part where, there's a song where they sing, and he's telling him about the girl that he smoothed in the summer.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Hey, tell
me more. Tell me more.
Did she put up a fight?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and
baby, it's cold outside.
Yeah. It's like a little rapey.
Yeah,
and but then you realize it's like John Travolta would never rape a woman. He's gay.
Yeah, 100%.
So, but
he wouldn't even get a massage from one.
No, he wouldn't get a massage from that chair.
Yeah, exactly. The chair's too much.
Too sciencey. So have you ever been to a Broadway play?
No, because I've only been in New York for a day. I'm going again in a few weeks.
Okay,
but again, I'm going for like an evening and a day.
Yeah, what are you going down to do?
My buddy Pulvers is recording his 400th episode of his podcast. They're doing it live at Gotham. So
that's cool. That's
I'm
going
to go down. I don't get to see him very often, so it's an excuse to go down and celebrate with him, whatever. And then and then I'm going to spend the next day in New York. I got a couple other guys going with Mikey from the club. Mike LeBlanc's going to come with me. And,
that's cool.
Yeah, and Nick Pro.
Oh, fuck that. That'd be great. Like, you should go when the Islanders are playing. It's like they're in the playoffs. Well, they play Friday night and they play Sunday. Yeah. But anyway, that's great. Like, I've seen one Broadway play. I saw A Bronx Tale.
Okay.
And it was just a one-man play. It was like Chaz, the guy who wrote the Bronx Tale story. And in the movie, he plays Sonny, the main gangster. But in this movie, he plays everyone.
Oh, okay.
And it's just, he just tells a story and like, he'll just switch his fingers up and then he's someone else because someone talks like this and then someone talks like this. And it's just like, it was mind blowing how amazing it was. And because I've always been a fan of the movie. And then to see, because the story was he was doing this one man show, A Bronx Tale, in dinner theater, and De Niro went and saw it. And De Niro loved it. He's like, "We're going to make this a movie." And he's like, "Okay." And he goes, "But I want to play the father." And Sonny was like, "You don't want to play. I mean, Chaz was like, "You don't want to play Sonny?" He's like, "I played that guy enough. I want to play the father, the hardworking man, the guy that's not involved with the mob.
Yeah.
You play Sonny. You be Sonny." And then he goes, "And I'll direct it." And
is this Chaz Palmintero?
Yeah.
So Chaz is actually the one who wrote A Bronx Tale.
Yeah, he wrote A Bronx Tale.
So he got into movies because of De Niro seeing
De Niro saw him do the one-man play,
Wow.
A Bronx Tale, and said this would be a fantastic movie. And then they adapted it into the film that it became, which is a great one-off mob movie.
Yeah.
And De Niro plays the father of the kid. And it's just a fucking great movie and an even better play. So
that's cool. I wanted to see, the thing was, I wanted to see Book of Mormon, and it was sold out for the longest time. So they're like, you can stand around and get standby tickets. I'm like, I'm not gonna. If I have one day in New York, I'm not standing outside the theater for 3 hours waiting to get a ticket and then spend another couple hours inside. I saw it here in Ottawa. I saw the on tour version.
Yeah.
That was not. I mean, the story was funny.
Yeah.
But I would rather have seen it with like Josh Gad and Andrew Rannells, who were like the original guys doing it. You know what I mean? In Broadway.
In Toronto, you get some famous people sometimes come up and do the ones in Toronto.
Yeah.
But I think they're mostly just Toronto actors and stuff like that.
Well, didn't like at one point K-Trev get looked at for playing the Elder Cunningham or whatever?
I have no idea.
I think K-Trev was something a long time ago. And there was another guy who was going to be playing it, another relatively well-known person, but I don't think that ended up happening. I remember Crystal and I years ago were planning a trip to New York. Where we were looking at it, and it was like I asked her if there's something you could see on Broadway, what would you like to see? And she said Cats. She's not a cat. Look on your face. She's not a cat person, but it was just one of those. When she was young, that was the big thing.
Yeah.
So she was like and it's been around for so long.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, well, let me see if I can find it. And the funny thing was, it was not on Broadway anymore. But I saw like, hey, see Cats on tour. So I was like, oh well, where is it going to be? I click on it. I'm like, holy fuck, it's going to be in Ottawa in like 2 weeks from now.
Will you take her to see the
And
Cats?
it was on Valentine's Day. So I'm like, so how cool of a thing would that be? It's like, oh, honey, it's not. I just remember telling her, I'm like, it's not available. It's not on Broadway anymore. We can't see it there. But I got the tickets. And the funny thing was here, I'm just going to give a pro tip for yourself and for anybody else listening is, I remember I Googled it like Cats at the National Arts Center and she's messaging me now. Ears burning. I remember, I Googled it like Cats at National Arts Center, and I was getting like, I wasn't looking at the site. I was just clicking on it, and it's showing me the seats, and it's like $190 for like nosebleeds, and then like $300 if I wanted to be in the middle section. I'm like, Jesus Christ, couldn't even buy up front for some reason. I was like, oh, this sucks. So I'm like, this can't be right. And then I go to click on the tickets, like the nosebleeds, and then it's like servicing fees, and I'm like, how is this? I Google it again. I go, this is not National Arts. Oh, I'm like, it's like Ticket Hub something. I'm like, oh fuck that. I Google it again, click on the first thing. Again, the tickets are crazy expensive. It's all these service fees. I'm like, what the fuck? So eventually I'm okay. I'm clearly, I want to, National Arts Center. That's all I did. National Arts Center. Boom. Okay. Now I'm on the NAC's website.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm looking, all right. Oh, there's Cats. Click, buy tickets. And I got front row center for $70 or $80 a ticket.
Cool.
So I'm like, well, for what it's worth, if anyone's ever looking for tickets for something, don't just Google the ticket name because you're going to end up going through a site. I mean, clearly for nosebleeds, they were tacking on, another $250. It's like, no, that's all service. This all going to these. Fuck that. Go to, if you ever need tickets, go to the venue's website.
Yeah.
Just to avoid potentially getting stuck in something that's selling you. Cause I'm like, dude, I was like 2-3 pages deep. Couldn't find the NAC's website and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like on just searching Cats. Anyways, whatever. Sorry. Long-winded story. But at the end of the day, if you're looking for tickets, you can find them better at going to the venue than Googling that event.
Yeah.
Cause odds are you're going to go, one of those other places, StubHub or something where they tell you you're getting them for a better price. Like, I don't think so.
No, you never.
Never.
StubHub's all American.
Yeah.
So it's all American prices. Oh, $6 is great. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's more than you think.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then they tack the service fees and all that shit.
It's all horse shit.
So you saw was it a good experience on Broadway? Like obviously it was a good play.
Yeah, it was a great play, great experience. I wanted always, like I only went to New York once. I always wanted to go to a Broadway play. Broadway was on strike when I was there. But the strike ended on my last night. And my friend worked at a bar across the street from where the Bronxdale Theater was. So that all the theater workers are regulars at the bar, and same with Chaz. So she got me a free ticket thanks to one of the grips or something like that.
Nice.
And so I went and sat in the balcony and watched this whole thing unfold for free. And I still have the playbill and I still have the ticket.
Oh yeah,
I keep all that stuff.
No, I do too.
And it was great. So it was a good way to wind up my New York trip, which was it was fun. I did a few sets and went to a few hockey games and just went around New York, saw everything I wanted to see pretty much. Didn't really go to Grand Central Park as much as I wanted to, but whatever. It was all good.
I didn't do that either. I actually don't think I would do it again this time either. Like if I'm going to go for the week, maybe, but
yeah,
I haven't been in close to a decade.
Yeah.
And I know that I'd want to check out some of the comedy clubs. I'm not going to do the Cellar this time, only because I'm saving that for someone else on another trip.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to try to do Carolyn's.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time too, like I think Nick Perron's never been.
Yeah.
So I did this the last time I went. It was actually kind of fun. I did one of those hop on, hop off bus tours.
Oh, yeah?
Which is great because you basically, are you familiar with these?
I did a TMZ bus tour in
LA?
in LA.
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't go on it.
I did it because it's the best bus tour.
Yeah?
Well, like, I just wanted to see, like, I was downtown in LA and not LA, downtown in Hollywood. I tend to spend my time in Hollywood rather than LA.
Right.
Like, they're two different places.
Absolutely.
You don't realize there's downtown LA and there's downtown Hollywood. And I like Hollywood. That's where I like, because that's all the cool things are there. And
it still looks run down, but there's nice.
I like it run down though.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So there's nothing going on in LA downtown at night. It's like Collateral. You watch the movie, it's just fucking coyote going across the street. That's all you see. You know, like after an event gets out, you're like, where the fuck did everybody go? You know. So anyway, Shake Shack is the answer. But I love Hollywood, and I wanted to see Beverly Hills, and I want to see Van Nuys, and I want to see all these neighborhoods that I've read about and you see in movies.
Yep.
And the TMZ just literally takes you everywhere, and they give you they tell you you know, we pull up to this we're a block away from the stop sign. They're like, does anybody know what happened right up by that stop sign up there? And then somebody will be like, is that where Hugh Grant got sucked off? And they'll be like, that's what happened. They'll roll it, and then they play the video on the bus. They're like, yeah, TMZ. And then because they broke the story, or they stop at the Laugh Factory, they're like, what happened here? Like, Kramer had his meltdown. And then, you know, or they stop at a restaurant, like this restaurant's owned by Bobby De Niro. You know, or you stop or you go by. It's not a place where it shows you houses. It just shows you where certain things that you would see on
iconic
TMZ,
locations of shit. I see.
of where they go. They're like, this is MOA, this is TMZ.
Do they show you like where James Dean crashed his car on Mulholland Drive? Do they show you stuff like that?
No. They don't even go up into the hills or anything like that.
Oh, no?
No, but one time.
Oh, I'd like that. We went up in the hills. We drove up in there. It was pretty cool.
Well, so John Doerr took me up, and one time we're driving up the hills, and I don't like heights. So he's driving, and he sees that I'm uncomfortable, and he's like, "Oh, let me show you where James Dean crashed." And he starts speeding up. He goes, "It's right up at this corner," and he turns the corner.
And those corners are sharp, man. They're fucking scary.
And he's turning them, and I'm like, "Can you stop doing?" And he's loving that he's freaking me out, and like I was, I don't like heights. Like I went hiking in Runyon's Canyon, and we got up so high, and I was with Jason Harper, and I was like, "Dude." He goes, we got to keep going. I'm like, I don't like this. He's like, what? You're not going to fall. You're on a big path. You're not going to fall down a mountain. I'm like, I'm just very uncomfortable right now. I thought you said there's a bat cave somewhere around here.
Bat cave?
The bat cave is in Runyon Canyon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but you got to go the other way. You don't go the popular way.
Not a real bat cave.
No, where they shot the bat cave.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
You're
from
like,
the movie.
Well, in the lore, it's on this side, not that side. It doesn't matter which way you go. You're not finding it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's the Batcave from the Jim
Nolan?
Carrey Batman.
Oh.
Where they blew it up. They blew it all up.
Right.
So, yeah. So, anyway.
I thought like the Nolan Batman. That would be more fun.
No.
To see.
No. You like, who was Christopher, who was the Batman in Jim Carrey's movie?
And that one was Val Kilmer.
Oh, that's the worst one.
Yeah.
He's Fat Man now.
Val Kilmer's fat?
Yeah, he could not fit into the bat suit.
Could any of them? I think Keaton might still be able to.
Keaton
with effort.
Well,
and obviously Christian Bale probably could.
Keaton might come back and do another Batman.
Really?
Well, they might do it. It might be similar to Birdman, where he's aged. He's Batman, but he's aged.
So they're gonna make like a comedy?
No, it'll be like an aged Batman.
And the funny thing is, they already told that story in The Dark Knight Rises, where he's all old and out of shape, and he needs the things to tighten him up. See, that would have been perfect for a Michael Keaton Batman story, where he's old. We haven't seen you in years. And
they are doing another Beetlejuice.
Yeah, but they're redoing a lot of stuff. They're doing a Ghostbusters 3. They've got rid of the
girls.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, because they did it better, and it was just they have to.
The girls did it better? No, look at.
I'm shaking my head so everyone knows. I was trying to not get in trouble.
You know what? I'm sorry, but if you have 4 of the funniest girls on the earth right now in a movie, why the fuck do you give Thor all the funny lines.
Dude, did he not steal the show? That's what I kept saying. I'm like, it sucks that the funniest person in that movie was the guy. And he was hilarious.
He was the
in that
Mimbo.
movie.
Like, you know, and I didn't understand that. Like, yeah, Annie Potts got some good lines in the original Ghostbusters, but they didn't give her all the fucking lines. Like,
here's the thing. I think that they think they gave the girls the funny lines.
No.
And it's like, oh, mass hysteria. Oh, we don't want mass hysteria. It's like, well, no, the cat's in the bag, and then if it was out of the bag, no, you put it back in the bag. Like those awkward conversations that Paul Feig puts in all of those movies.
Well, that's Kristen Wiig's go-to.
It's like, yeah, but it's like
awkward.
That's not funny. It's
No.
like it's not like or I'll say we've seen it. We got Bridesmaids and we got whatever one or two you did afterwards. Stop taking the same formula, slapping a new veneer on it, going, oh, it's Ghostbusters. No, how easy would it have been, since they had all those guys cameoing in it, how easy would it have been to just hand them the technology? Hey, we're too old. Ladies, take a stab at it. We appreciate your work, whatever. Here you go. And then you can build on it. Instead of just like out of nowhere, they just create these ghost grenades. It was awful. We waited too long for that as the next... taste of it. It was garbage.
Yeah,
Hot garbage.
and don't make the Dan Aykroyd a fucking cab driver. And
I'm not going down there. I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Yeah, it's just it was a horrible movie.
Yeah, and I think what's her face, Kate McKinnon, who's fucking hilarious.
She's
Again,
just weird.
licking the guns, making it all sexualized and stuff. I don't know. I thought
She's never licked a gun in her life.
She lesbian?
Yes.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah.
She's never licked a gun in her life. I think that was just Quill, and it was just stupid. But Jason Reitman has it, and he's writing it with his dad. Ghostbusters 3, they are not in it.
He's not writing it with his dad. His dad's dead.
Ivan Reitman's dead?
Yes.
Since when?
Since forever.
No.
Google it.
Harold Ramis is dead.
Oh,
but
wait a minute.
Ivan Reitman is not dead. Ivan Reitman directed the first two.
Yes, I know.
And Groundhog. No, you don't tell me he's
Yes,
dead.
I did know, but I thought he was dead.
Well, I don't think so.
I thought that's why Jason's doing it.
No, he's just handing it off so that his son can have a run with them.
Oh,
do you know what else Jason Reitman is famous for?
I don't know.
It's like his big breakthrough movie.
What's that?
I only listened. I just heard because Jason Reitman and he's still alive, dude. He was born in 1946. He's old as fuck, but he's not dead. I think the last one he did. Ivan Reitman's still directing some shit. I don't know what the fuck I was saying. Just a second ago.
Jason Reitman. What movie is he from?
Juno. He directed Juno.
Well, that was
his big breakthrough. But yeah, Bill Burr and him worked together on something. Burr had him on his podcast. But they're doing the new Ghostbusters movie. Did you see the trailer for it?
Yes.
Yeah. I love it's got the old sounds, and apparently the font that they use. He was explaining this on Burr's podcast. It's that even when you see like the Ghostbusters, or what is it? It didn't even say Ghostbusters. It just said coming 2020 or whatever. They actually used the old cells from like the 1980s movie. So it was not CGI. It wasn't a font done on a computer.
Yeah.
That was actually done with the old cells. Of everything like that and all the old audio and whatnot. So they didn't clean it up or anything like that. So it's they're big on we're going back to basics and we're bringing back what was good about the last one. So
yeah. So what, are they gonna let Dan write it?
What's that?
Are they letting Dan write it?
Dan write it? Let's see who's writing it. I'm pretty sure it's Jason Reitman and Ivan Reitman, but we'll find out. I'm just excited for that. I was a big fan of Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was I've said this before in the podcast, but Ghostbusters was the very first movie I ever saw in the theater. I was like a toddler running around. My mom said there was nobody in the theater, and I was running up and down the aisles.
Yeah, you must
and
have
then
enjoyed it.
As soon as the proton packs would go off, I would stop, like jaw drop, stare at the screen during all the lights and everything.
Yeah,
and then back to running around when it was just them chatting. I thought that was pretty funny. I don't know why Ghostbusters 3 isn't coming up on fucking what do you call it here? Oh, Untitled Ghostbusters Project.
Oh, okay, it's not titled yet.
No, but there's already casts. Finn Wolfhard is in it. Ooh, from Stranger Things.
Oh, that's the kid with the mouth?
Not the one who's like the one who lisps.
Yeah.
No.
Fat kid?
No.
There's not a fat kid on Stranger Things.
So it is Jason Reitman and Gil something or other who are writing this.
Okay.
It's not writing it with his dad, but Ivan Reitman's a producer, and Dan Aykroyd and all the remaining living Ghostbusters are included in it.
Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd, and Bill Murray.
Yeah, that's another thing. In the other movie, they could have just made. Why didn't they just make Leslie Jones Ernie Hudson's daughter? Why didn't they do that?
Didn't they do it?
Is that what they did?
Yeah, I remember she's like, my dad's going to be upset if we take the car. And he's the one who gets out of the car at the end. Yo, I gave you this car and you messed it up. Yeah, they had him. Yeah, it was her.
Okay, that's how they used him? I couldn't remember.
Yeah, but of course he wasn't Winston. She wasn't Winston's daughter. She was just some guy.
Oh, no, then that's not what I want. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they could have been their characters.
Yeah.
And just a passing torch. It could have been a little scene in the beginning where they hand off all their old equipment.
Yeah.
You know, they're too old for this. Maybe even a cool little scene in the beginning where they try to stop a ghost and they just can't do it. They're too old. They pass the torch. I would have had no issue with that. That would have actually been a lot better than a cab driver, a skeptic. Oh, remember when he was the one who everyone was skeptical of and now he's a skeptic? It was just garbage. The whole thing was garbage.
It's garbage. I'm not. So you heard it here first. Ghostbusters with women, garbage. Don't even watch it. Don't rent it. If it's on the TV, walk away.
Do you rent movies on the TV?
No, I rent movies. No, I don't. I'm a pirate.
Okay.
I've always been from a family that's always stolen cable, and we've always had black boxes, and I will stream, and I will continue to stream things, and people hate that, but you know what? I've always been a big fan of going to concerts and like when I was a kid growing up, I loved bootlegs. I loved getting my hands on bootlegs. Like if you were a band that let people videotape your concert, like the Grateful Dead or eventually Metallica set up a fucking section where you could bring a tripod and set up your camera and tape their show.
Really?
That to me is the greatest thing you could do for your fans. And I love watching stream concerts but I don't like bootleg stream movies. I do like, Oscar season comes around. I like to watch the Oscar DVD versions that they give to everybody.
Oh, okay.
So it's because they always get leaked and put online. So I usually watch a lot of those movies, but I don't rent movies. I just go to the movie theater a lot.
Yeah.
I go to movie theaters like at least 2 movies a month. I see a lot of things in theater still.
What'd you see last?
The last movie I saw in the theater, let me think. It was Shazam.
Okay. What did you think of that? I was bitching with my buddy Chris about it recently.
It's good. It's a good movie for kids.
Yeah.
It's a DC movie for kids, and that's what it is. It's if you're a diehard comic book guy, just wait for Endgame because Shazam is not. Shazam.
Yeah.
Is just
why
fun.
would they put it? Is it was.
It's
fun.
just fun. It's a fun movie for kids. There's no swearing.
No.
There's nothing really excessively
I don't think there's any
violent.
swearing in the Marvel ones either because they're Disney.
Maybe now, but Disney has Disney swearing.
Right.
They swear, but they say Disney swears. Like in all those Disney cute kid movies, they have their own way of swearing, and it's bullshit because swearing is swearing. Whether you fucking invent words,
right?
It's still the idea of swearing is what's wrong.
You're right.
I fucking love swearing, but to have some little mermaid pansy around it. Shoodlefins. I don't know, some made up word that makes
son of a biscuit.
Yeah. So, whatever. So Disney has Disney swearing in their movies. Not really swear words, but they just create their own and they use them as swears. Kids like it.
Are you you brought up Endgame, are you a fan of the Marvel movies?
Yeah, I love all the Marvel movies.
Yeah. Are you gonna go see it?
Yeah, but not till next week. I'm waiting till I'll go see it in a matinee in Kingston. I don't need to see it right away with a fucking full theater.
Oh, I've got my tickets.
I know you do.
11 o'clock tonight.
But I did watch Infinity War last night.
Yeah.
On Netflix.
Still amazing.
Infinity War, yes, because it's amazing that I still I missed so much of it in the theater because I slept for 45 minutes of it, but watched 2 hours.
Did you really? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I was in a lazy boy chair. And the movie is infinity. I stayed up for 2 hours of it, but 45 minutes is gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched the 45 minutes the other night.
Really? That was the first time you've caught up with it?
No, because I fell asleep again and I woke up at the endings and I'm like, oh, what I missed? I know I miss everybody dying, but still, everybody just turns to sand. Sandman finally wins.
Yeah, exactly.
But Thanos, it's just so weird. And Thanos, it's Yeah, I'm curious to see Endgame, see how they wrap it all up. I'm a big fan of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the current Peter Parker. I love the current Spider-Man. It's the best Spider-Man they've ever had.
Yeah, by far.
Toby was the best, but then because the thing is Spider-Man is not the thing. Spider-Man just has to be a wisecracker.
Yeah.
But the Peter Parker is the key, as most superheroes are. It's playing the main guy and not the superhero is the key to the casting.
Right.
I could not imagine another Tony Stark.
No.
Fucking Robert Downey Jr. is perfect.
Yeah.
As Tony Stark.
The only one who I would say has come close because their characters are so similar and just the acting, the whatever, was Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange. He would be able to play a pretty close Tony Stark because they're both sort of wisecracking, successful, super smart.
Yeah, but it's like, come on, do you think he's the playboy that Tony Stark is?
Well, if you gave him the mustache and put him in those cars, I think it'd be believable. He still has the look of Tony Stark. But I'm with you. I think that fucking Benedict Cumberbatch is an amazing Doctor Strange. I
think so too.
Yeah.
Because I thought, you know who I thought would be a good Doctor Strange? Tom Skerritt.
Oh, Tom Skerritt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he would be a good Doctor Strange.
He would look like him. I don't know if he'd be able to act like if his, like you said, could you play the guy?
Yeah.
He could look like the dude, but can you play the guy? He looks like him. Also, so did the guy who played Reed Richards in the first Fantastic Four. Like he would have had a Doctor Strange type look. Jay Leno for a while, Pat Strange, when it was the gray on black instead of the black on gray.
Oh, what about Paulie Walnuts from Sopranos? He could play Doctor Strange because he is.
Yeah. And let me tell you something, Dormammu.
He was the only guy on the Sopranos that was never allowed to get killed. He never got killed. It was in his contract.
Really?
When he negotiated, he's like, I don't want to be killed on the show. So he was the only one that negotiated that he would not ever get killed on the show.
Smart negotiation. Keep the.
Because everybody else, imagine like your table read when.
But Silvio never got killed either. I guess Steve Van Zandt never got killed either.
Well, he did get shot. He did get shot in the last season, didn't he?
But he didn't die.
But he didn't die. But. And then
that last season was garbage. They just started killing everybody for no fucking reason.
Well, because it was the end of the fucking thing. Like my favorite one was Bobby Bacala, where fucking with the trains, and the best is like they show the little train people. They're like they like the train people are like they watch a murder take place, and of course
I found the sister obnoxious, Janice or whatever.
I hate Janice.
So obnoxious.
I hate Janice. I was like, I bet you, like. You could do a scene where Tony hits her, and I would be like, rightfully so.
Rightfully so. Justifiable.
You know, it's in the family.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hated Janice. I hate her so much.
Yeah.
She reminds me of my friend's wife.
I didn't like, one of the things I really didn't like about it was like in the last season, they actually had it happening for the few seasons prior, but they really loaded it on thick the last season, just like everyone getting cancer and dying in hospitals of cancer. I'm like, do you have any other way to write someone off a show?
Well,
you know what I mean?
You can't kill someone with cancer.
Jason Lawrence, everybody. You going to play squash?
You guys still talking?
We're still talking. We love talking. We're friends. This is what friendship looks like, Jay. Where are you taking that Blu-ray player?
He's going to play it in squash.
Yeah. So they play squash. It's a sexual endeavor.
You know who loves squash?
Who?
Elvis.
Did he?
Yeah, he wanted to open a whole bunch of squash courts. Nationwide.
This must have been thin Elvis.
No, fat Elvis. He started playing squash to lose weight, and he would go play squash in the middle of the night at the squash courts because they had to open for him because he couldn't go out in the day. And
didn't want to be seen.
Well, Elvis wherever he mobbed, so he had to go out at night, and eventually built his own squash court. And then he was like, "Yeah, we're going to build these nationwide, all these squash courts, the squash courts." And then the colonel's like, "No, this is not happening. You're going back on the road and you're singing, and this has nothing to do with your singing, so I can't make money off it."
So the colonel was his manager for some reason. As soon as you're like, and then the colonel's like, "No."
Yeah.
I'm like, Colonel Sanders had an issue with Elvis making
Colonel
squash
Tom
courts.
Parker was his manager.
Oh, okay.
And the colonel called all the fucking shots, and squash the squash courts.
Maybe that's where the term comes from. When someone says it got squashed, maybe that was the first thing. It was Elvis's dream. Like, nope. Same thing happened to his squash dreams. They got squashed.
Well, some of his dreams got squashed. Others' dreams, like marrying a 14-year-old, that didn't get squashed.
No, he got to do that one.
Yeah. Everybody's all upset. Everybody thinks Michael Jackson's a pedophile. But the actual pedophiles that we do know, they're okay with.
Did you watch, I talked about that a while back briefly, but did you watch the Leaving Neverland?
No, I won't watch it.
No?
No, because here's one thing that I don't like is people are not entitled to have opinions anymore. It's all one opinion is right, and yours is wrong, and we're in the generation of my truth, and this is my truth, and you're wrong. Like, you cannot come out and say, well, I don't understand how we can take these people for truth, because Wade Robson has already he testified when he was 20 years old during the trial that was brought to you by the documentary that the British guy did.
Yep.
That led
My
to
Time with the Prince or something like that.
Yeah. At least when that documentary, the Brashear documentary from England, at least when he did that documentary, he went to Michael Jackson and sucker punched him in the face on,
right? And
then and brought up these allegations and everything. So Michael had a chance to defend himself,
right?
So although I didn't, but that documentary led to the 2005 case of everything that went down, where Ray Robson was the first kid to come on board and testify at 20 years old.
Yeah.
So then in this movie, now I've read a lot about Finding Neverland. I just won't watch it.
Yeah.
And so he's very like the descriptions of what they describe in the movie are very graphic and very, and he talks about
there's two boys in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
James Sekuloff is the other one.
Yeah.
Which we can talk about him in a second. But Wade Robson's the first one. So Wade Robson, he describes the anal sex he's describing anal sex. And he says in his 30s is when he realized that Michael Jackson molested him once he had children of his own.
Yes.
So he's 20 years old. He's testifying for Michael Jackson. And at that point, he knows he was anally fucked by Michael Jackson, so he says. But at 20 years old, you don't know that's wrong to do to a kid?
That's what I thought, but believe it or not, it sounds crazy because I turned that movie on because a bunch of people were talking about it. So I go, I'll check it out. But I turned it on going, let's see what these money grubbing people, let's see what they had to say. After watching it, I had no doubt in my mind. I'm like, I wasn't there, so believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. But after watching the movie, I'm like, this guy fucking molested children. Like, this guy full on. The way that they go through it, and they have psychologists and everything, they weren't like, I lied for Michael Jackson because he offered me. They were like, Michael Jackson made every one of these kids absolutely love him. Like, love him. So they weren't, what the biggest thing that both of them, and they didn't collaborate together when they were telling their stories. No. The biggest thing that they said was that, like, I didn't even know that I knew that had happened between us, but that was the stories that they tell and how Michael Jackson described it. And they've got actually, like, in the documentary, they actually show like faxes and stuff that he was sending them, like letters from them, playing like answering machine messages and stuff like that from him. And it was like the way it was so predatory that he would not only make the kids absolutely love him, but the families absolutely love him.
Yes.
That everyone was like, the parents didn't know. And all that's what these boys said. They said all throughout this time, and even the parents are on there going, saying, when the second trial, the first trial came, when the second trial came, did he ever do anything like that? No, like he never abused me or anything like that. And these guys were basically saying, like, I didn't know that abuse is what would have happened. Mike would always explain to them when they were little boys, is like, we touch each other and we love each other. Like, you're my best friend. Because it wouldn't be like the Neverland stuff you see where he's got all these different kids all the time, and then just like one night, one kid would be with him. Like, Michael Jackson would totally obsess and be with one of these boys for a set period of time.
Yes.
And they would always stay friends afterwards. But it was like when you were the little boy who was being looked at, like you felt like we love each other. And, you know, all this footage of him always having one kid with him, like while he's out on tour and stuff, and just this kid who's always in his limo and hanging out with him and whatever. It was like, it was all friends and everything like that. But at night, they were even saying, like, during the day, you'd go and you'd play. There was never any sexual stuff or anything like that. But then at night was when this is how we show our love stuff would happen.
Yeah.
And it was just like, you're listening to it, and there's like these full-on adults, like Michael would buy them jewelry after. One of the boys, James, really liked jewelry. He would buy him jewelry after a night where they had done something as a thank you, and like take them out and say, "Oh, we're using his finger because that's the woman I'm buying." Like all this shit. Like I said, I mean, it sucks that this is happening after he's dead, and in fact, there was an interview that Oprah did with them afterwards saying, "Could you guys have done this if Michael Jackson was still alive?" They were even saying how like they're still having these like. Not survivor's guilt stuff per se, but they're still having these like, I still feel like I let him down being honest about what happened.
Yeah.
And like you'd think if you were after money or something like that.
But they are.
Wade.
Now, you know Finding Neverland's been taken down, right? And you know Oprah's. Oh yeah. Did you? So James Sutcliffe, who talked about one of the molestations taking place in 1992 in the train station. It turns out.
Oh, I didn't see that in the documentary.
Well, this is why they've been taken down. Apparently, he has said that in the train station was one of the places where he was molested, and goes into detail about it. Apparently,
okay.
And the Jackson family has come back with actual proof. That'd be like the train station wasn't built till 1994, so. Where were you again? Like, so this place where you said it specifically took place, where you remember. Now, maybe maybe he has regressed memories or whatever or whatnot, and maybe he's finding new, or maybe like I believe these kids were given a pretty because we know a lot more about molestation now than we knew back then. We know about the grooming and we know about this. So it's all interesting that this is all hidden in now. Like it's very easy to write a script. And it's very easy for people to believe a movie.
Of course.
And this is, I don't even think this is a documentary. This is a documentary is well, documentaries aren't always real to begin with.
Right. And you're only getting one angle that the documentarian wants to tell.
The person who making the documentary has an agenda, and he has a motivation, and he has a plan. And then this is how they carry it out. So this documentary is just, it's one guy's witch hunt on Michael Jackson, and this is the best way. And why now? Well, now because we're in the My Truth generation where when the people come up and say, I don't necessarily agree with this, they're missing a lot of things. They're saying Michael Jackson does not like women. He has a career of working with women. He's liked women all of his life. There are people like Lisa Marie Presley has nothing to gain. She has all of her father's money. What does she have to gain for protecting Michael?
Right, of course.
Or anybody, like all of his real friends, like they come up and stick up for him. His family, they didn't talk about that Wade Robson dated Michael Jackson's niece for 7 years. Why didn't they? Michael Jackson set them up. Why wasn't that ever brought up? Oh, because he's grooming these kids to hate women. It doesn't go against.
They never took that angle. For what it's worth, they never took that angle like that he's grooming them to hate women. He was just grooming them to.
No, they said in the interviews afterwards.
Maybe. They didn't do it in the documentary.
Well, they said he was very anti-woman, and he would tell them that women are not good and women are this. But you said. But why would you do that and then set him up with your niece and do that? And it's very easy for like Wade Robson. They make saying Wade Robson sound like, oh, he did this for Britney Spears and he did this for Justin Timberlake. How the fuck do you think he got those gigs?
Oh yeah, he said right in the documentary. He goes. Michael Jackson was one of my best friends.
Yeah,
and he also sexually abused me. Like he was saying how. And I'm not saying it's true, of course not. But the big thing that I found the most compelling, not to say any of it's true, because I really don't, I wasn't there, so I'll never know. None of us will.
No.
But the big thing for me was the fact that they talked about how much they just loved him. Yeah. Like everything he did, like we didn't look at it as it was a negative. Is even they said both of them had the same sort of revelation. Was both of them when they had kids. Mm-hmm. They said that they were having nightmares that someone was doing to
Yeah, of
their
course,
child.
but
They're like, but why am I mad that someone would do that to my kid, and I'm not mad at the guy who did it to me? Like, how is this guy my friend?
Yeah.
And I don't see it as a negative.
But
at
I
all.
just think that this is all great written work,
Right.
Because here's what's happened. Like Corey Feldman, who has been molested, came out and defended Michael Jackson, and all of a sudden, it's like, this is what happens when you come out and you say you don't believe it. This is the response you get now. You're the reason why victims can't come forward.
Right.
So all of a sudden, and this is a part of the problem
Absolutely.
with the country. Like look at let's say, okay, like I don't know why we're spending all this time arguing and debating whether Michael Jackson's a pedophile or not, when it's been proven that the Catholic Church hides and protects pedophiles.
Absolutely.
And yet people still go to church. Nobody calls them out.
Right.
Nobody says you people in church are the reason why victims can't come forward. Nobody does that.
Did you see Spotlight? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, Spotlight.
Have you seen that?
Yes, and it's incredible.
Okay, yeah?
But
Okay.
again,
I haven't seen that one.
But again, it's a movie,
Right.
That's based
With
on
an
the
agenda,
truth,
right?
So, but the same thing is, it exposes it. Like, look at, I know the molestations are real because my priest is in fucking jail.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow.
So, and you know what?
I wonder why that is.
And one kid came out, and quickly it turned to 12. Pedophiles are repeat customers.
Right. of
Michael
course.
Jackson, I don't believe it because the numbers aren't there. These two who come forward.
Well, there was the other kids who accused him of it prior.
Okay.
And they do address that. They say, if I hadn't been so fucked up, because one of the things that they talk about, I'll be very brief, is that they kept saying how when he would turn his attention onto another kid,
Yes.
they would get very jealous. They would say I used to be that kid up in the bedroom. Now I'm down here on the couch.
Yeah.
So they felt like every time he would reach out to them to protect him, it's like, oh, he's trying to be close to me again. This is another way I can earn back his love. So the big thing with them was it wasn't like, oh, I hated him and I knew he molested me.
Well, that's what I found.
He was like, we wanted that friendship. We wanted to be important again. And before these trials, he would love us up again. He would talk with us and he would spend time with us again and all these things.
Yeah. So
they were friends the whole time. Like you said, Britney Spears, all that. He totally says, Michael's the one who put me in these positions. He helped me.
Of course he did. So there's things like, it wasn't until after Wade Robson was denied Cirque du Soleil, which is something that Michael promised him. We're doing this big Cirque du Soleil. It's going to be Michael Jackson. And he wanted to choreograph it. And they said, no, they're going with someone with a little more experience, somebody better.
Oh, really? In the documentary, they said that he did a Cirque du Soleil, maybe a different Cirque du Soleil.
No,
production.
he begged to do the Cirque du Soleil. He didn't get it. And it wasn't until after that, then his first lawsuit came out against the Jackson family. And it was thrown out immediately. Because
he had testified against it before.
Well, yeah, and not only that, why isn't he in jail for perjury? But anyway, the FBI had been researching Michael Jackson and they've been trying to put him away for 15 fucking years, and they just couldn't get anything on him. And now if you can go through and look at all the stuff that they confiscated from the place, there is a lot of questionable stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of what I like to say.
Sleeping with kids in your bed in and of itself is incredibly questionable.
Well, yes, but it's like, if the guy thinks he's Peter Pan, that's what Peter Pan used to do. Peter Pan was always with the kids at bedtime and all that.
Right.
You got to realize that this is not a normal person. Number one,
of course,
he's mentally ill. We can all agree with that, and it's like, and so the first kid, the 15 million kid, the kid that got the millions.
Right.
You know who his story ended up? He ended up divorcing his father. Getting rid of his father because he was not happy with what his father made him do. Mm-hmm. And then his father eventually commits suicide over apparently this strained relationship because the kid was never molested. Michael Jackson. And then they say, well, why would Michael Jackson write a check for so much? But it's like, you got to realize Michael Jackson is not one person. He's a billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
And for the brand Michael Jackson, this does not look good. We have to make it disappear. This is
but
what
does
companies
paying
do.
it off make it look good either?
Well, look at.
I'm not saying I don't, but I'm saying overall the optics are shit no matter what.
If he really loved the kid, the money's going to the kid when the kid turns 18. If he had the chance to to look at it this way, you're getting the kid's going to get the money. He'll have it at 18. He'll be set for life. You won't be able to talk to him anymore or anything like that. But if you really did love him, because I really do believe that Michael loved kids. I think a lot of these kids
he did a lot for children.
But a lot of these kids that claim they're molested now, to me, they sound like ex-girlfriends complaining that they've been dumped.
Right, but wouldn't and this is devil's advocate, not my belief, but wouldn't spending a lot of time with kids and for kids be a really good cover story for why you've got kids with you all the time? Doesn't it make it a lot easier for you to welcome children in and get your prey a little closer?
No, I don't even
You don't think so?
No, because I think I look at it this way.
You're a guy who just all of a sudden one day starts sleeping with kids and you're like, what the fuck? But if you're like, no, look, I'm always about kids. I'm saying being about kids is a very good cover story for why you have kids.
Yeah, well,
how you get
but
kids.
but the thing is like for him, it's like, okay, like you got to realize that number one, he had his childhood robbed from him, like,
right.
And like, so, he always enjoyed being a kid. He always got to be a kid. When he was an adult, he wanted to do the kid stuff later, So,
oh, dude, I'd love to live that fucking way.
Well, yeah, so would I.
I'd love to just have fun all the fucking time.
But the thing is like, I think he liked kids so much because after Thriller, which again, where all of this would have started, because we don't know, like it seemed like Neverland, again named after Peter Pan,
of course,
is where everything happened and all the problems happened. So if by chance he was a molester and a pedophile, we can at least say that was after Thriller, right?
Sure.
So we can listen to Off the Wall. Right? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, because Off the Wall is my favorite Michael Jackson album.
You know what? An even more interesting conversation, and I'm doing Twitter, even though we're having conflicting sides and things like that. Like we're cool, right?
But this is a conversation. Nobody's attacking anybody because they're just opinions,
right? And we both acknowledge that neither one of us are there. Neither of us will ever know. Whenever someone's doing one of these things,
we'll never know. We don't have all the information,
exactly, and even information that things can be forged and all sorts of shit like that.
Yeah.
I think the very interesting conversation, and I just had it and lost it. My brain doesn't work very well anymore. Is how people are talking about how, like, can you appreciate the art of someone who had like a flaw? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like if let's say for point of discussion, let's say he molested kids. Well, does that mean the music sucks? The music isn't good? It's like the music is still good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm sure it's unpopular opinion. It's like, was the Cosby Show still funny? Was Bill Cosby's stand-up still incredible? If somebody paints a fucking beautiful painting, but they, I want to make sure you're alive.
Sorry. The difference between, like, okay, Michael Jackson and Bill Cosby. I just want to say this.
Yeah.
Bill Cosby is a predator, and Michael Jackson, to a lot of people, is a predator as well.
Right.
They're both predators. But again, it's a numbers thing.
Right.
When Bill Cosby came out, like, I remember the one woman a bunch of years ago, the woman from his school that had the links to Ottawa, that she sued him, that went away really quickly. But I remember that being in the news. Mm-hmm. Everybody's always known about everybody always knew about Bill Cosby. Nobody just never did anything, and nobody knew about how crazy the numbers were. Mm-hmm. And when the numbers started coming out, you see more and more and more start coming out. Again, where are all these kids with Michael Jackson?
Right.
I figured if this documentary was true, this will open the door and more kids will be coming out.
It might just take more time. But because the first waves of them, for the most part, the Wades and the Jameses and some of the couple of the other kids who came forward earlier.
Well, again. Because
remember, the parents didn't even know. Like that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
According to the narrative.
Yeah.
The parents didn't even know until these guys.
Well, the
were
second
in their
30s, the rubber kid, the parents had a history of extorting other celebrities for money.
Oh, see,
So that's why the rubber kid from the Brashear documentary, where he had him on his lap at the and he was bouncing the kid on his lap. He's like, rubber, go, yeah, very, very disturbing.
Yeah.
But not fucking him in the ass.
No, of course not.
But the thing is like, so there were.
Now, neither of the guys, for the record, just for what it's worth, neither one of them said that Michael Jackson fucked them. It was kissing, licking, fellatio. It was never. They attempted to penetrate James once, and James couldn't take it, and he stopped. And then his interest in him dwindled after that. So it was like he would slowly try to climb the ladder.
Yeah.
And then when they couldn't, it was like, and then he would lose interest in them.
Yeah, but again, this is the story.
Hearsay, the narrative.
Because like they said, okay, we lost interest for the next guy, and the next guy would be the guy that Michael Jackson liked because he did everything that we wouldn't do or something like that.
Right.
This guy is fucking come forward and he's pissed. He's like, don't bring me into your scenarios. He's like, I was never molested. I was never this.
Right.
I was this, and this. He's went on the record, and you know what happened to him? Fucking got attacked on Twitter by all the people. It's like, you know, and like people telling him that he was probably molested. He just doesn't know it yet. Like, can you imagine people telling you that shit?
Well,
like,
Wade
Jesus.
and them said that they knew, but their love for him, they didn't feel wronged by it.
Mm-hmm.
Their love for him was more than that. So they weren't like, it wasn't like, hey, I know you stole from me, but you're my friend, so I'm going to protect you because I don't want something bad to happen to you. Like I could be wrong, but I have heard. Not from the horse's mouth, which is always a big thing, but apparently Sarah Silverman was aware or had been asked by Louis if he could do that in front of her. And the
no, the Louis C.K. thing.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say, like, she was like, he had asked me, and I said no, and whatever, blah blah blah. But it was like never a thing. Like,
but he also dated her sister for like 5 years.
Yeah, and
he used to do it in front of her sister all the time. Like that was one of his things.
Well, if they're dating,
yeah, they're dating. But that was like one of the people like. You know, oh yeah, he used to do it in front of Laura Silverman, and it was like, yeah, well, they were dating, you know, so put that in the fucking story,
right? Of course,
but
and that's the thing too. And it's like I didn't hear that from Sarah; it was like another source or whatever. So again, that's why it's like, how much validity is there to any of us? I just found the whole thing interesting because, like I said, what I took from that was like you said about the whole, you know, being groomed and stuff. Not saying he groomed them. What I found interesting, but is listening to these people who had allegedly been molested. Was them talking, the most of the documentary isn't them like they're talking about their experience of how they met him and everything like that for quite a while before anything happens. To the point where you actually forget that, oh yeah, these guys are claiming to have been molested by him. So it was interesting once they started to talk about how they perceived everything. And this is what he loved us. This is how we share love. So when other people are like, oh, he molested me, like they were like, early, they're like, I don't know what that is. And he did such a job of explaining how if anyone finds out we're doing this, you and me are going to go to jail forever.
Yeah.
And then when they became adults, they're like, okay, well, you don't go to jail, but at the same time, this is my friend who's helping me get work and this and that. And I still loved him. He was, whenever they were saying how like whenever he would show them any attention, it was like they were always like, I loved him. I loved him.
Of course they did.
And I was like, so it was a fascinating thing to me because I have never been molested. I know people who have, and some of them are open about it, and some of them would never talk about it. Like they told me years ago, and I've never brought it back up. Yeah. And after seeing this, I'm even less likely. I'm like, I have no idea how deep these wounds go. But it was fascinating because some of them I would say like, is it like that? And they're like, yeah, like in the Oprah Winfrey discussion, her whole audience was all people who'd been assaulted.
Yes.
So it was interesting because at times
and they were all from her school.
Oh, she has a school.
No, I'm joking. That's a really bad joke.
Oh, okay, sorry.
There were kids molested at her school in Africa.
Was there? Yeah, okay, interesting. I didn't know that. But yeah, the thing was like you'd have a few of them were telling little stories about what happened to them. And they were saying it was very similar in the sense of just how they're groomed.
Of course, it's similar because like I said, it's very easy to write a script now that we know more about pedophilia and the psychological side beside it. I'm sure they showed that pedophilia is a power thing. Yes. And does Michael Jackson crave power? Yes, he's dressed as a fucking military person every time he walks out. He's got medals on. He's leading armies. He wants to be a fucking
he wants to be Peter Pan and Captain Hook at the same time.
I'm like Michael, stop! They're using the power thing against you. You know, like so basically again, why I think Michael Jackson hung out with kids was because once he became a target, for like once the first check was written, he became a target for all these lawsuits and all this and all that, and it's just
I think
like
that's a bad call for that reason because you almost like you don't want to give into it. Yeah, you open the floodgates
like
to
now
do it more. Yeah.
Everybody's after him, so like there's trust issues. There's trust issues with every one of your employees. Yeah, like people are like he had booby traps. He booby trapped his room. I'm like, yeah, because at any point a maid could come in and take a picture of him naked and sell it to a fucking tabloid. Right. It's not just about the kids. No, it's about privacy. And and another thing is, I honestly believed he liked kids and he liked being around kids because he did not like his work. He did not like his job. He did what he had to do because that's who he was, and that's all he knew. And the only people he could trust are honest people. And who are the most honest people before they've been corrupted?
You're right, children.
Kids.
Yeah.
Kids will tell you. That's why they all had nicknames for him. That's all they had. This. Some kids like, oh, blah, blah, blah. You know, he was Applehead. The kids that really knew him as Applehead. And it's just like, you know, I think that's why he loved kids, because kids are always honest with him. I don't think he fucked kids. I think, yes, there's a lot of creepy things going on, and maybe, you know, some adolescence things where they would, you know, like, ooh, but whether there's a big difference between, you know, a partial grooming and a full fucking anal rape.
Right.
You know, and
well,
I just,
and again, a lot of them said they didn't get anal rape.
And again, well, yeah, but I'm like, and again, I'm just saying that, like, the numbers aren't there. The first kid took the pay and he claimed to, and not only that, the first kid could not identify the penis properly. Because Michael,
can you pick it out of a lineup?
Well, yeah. Well, Michael Jackson has vitiligo, right?
Right.
So that's why he started wearing the glove, and because he was. Can you imagine? You have a feminine voice, and you're the greatest black artist in the history of
from
things.
A black man to a white woman. And the old joke.
Yeah. Well, basically, like how would that make you fucking feel? Like he must have been fucking crazy. And then so I don't know. I just think you know, like the second kid. They proved that they took $250,000 off Chris Tucker, the parents. They used the kid to get to Chris Tucker. They used the kid to get
Chris Tucker was in the kids too?
No, not at all. But he'd be like, I'd be at Michael's place. Michael be in bed with all these kids. I'm like, Michael, why?
Yeah.
You know, like he'd do jokes about it.
Why?
Why?
That's super hot, Chris Tucker.
So there's that, and then there's, you know, so that's the first two kids, and then the next two kids. But there's only 4 kids. And then 2 of them are questionable. 2 of them, so I'm like, he had millions of kids. Like Matt Dillon does a joke about it. He's like, you know, he's like, if he was a pedophile, he was the greatest pedophile of all time. Who puts a fucking Ferris wheel in their front lawn? You know? Yeah. Come on over here, kid.
Yeah. Well,
you know?
I in high school, you know, I understand how tasteless it is now, but in high school, my friend Patrick, the same one I was telling you about earlier, him and I used to joke like, just don't you think Michael Jackson's earned the right to molest children? Which is a bad joke. It's in poor taste.
He treats himself one every 10 years. Yeah.
He's made so much good music.
I've been good. I've earned 1 kid a decade.
Right.
You know, yeah. Like, no, again, the numbers are too low. The numbers are too low. This documentary is completely one-sided.
Right.
There's just
the message
there's just not enough to convince me.
Right.
That he's a full-on pedo and that he did it.
And that's reasonable. That's very reasonable.
And again,
and that's how you be a pedophile. If anyone wants to know, is keep your numbers low. Pace yourself.
Pace yourself. Pace. If you can keep getting that same kid to do. It was like the numbers are low because he was in relationships. He wasn't just he wasn't a serial pedo. He wasn't a one-hitter quitter. He wined and dined each kid
and their families.
Right?
Who does? Nobody likes the in-laws.
Yeah.
But he was making love to all of them.
He was a good guy. He was a very good. Probably like when
he was
I
like
say
Richard Dreyfuss, he'd pull out his wad of cash and go, huh?
Yeah. If it's love. Is it pedophile? Like now we're just all of a sudden we're just making jokes.
I know, but we got to bring. It's a heavy conversation. We got to bring some levity back to it.
Well, you know, and again, don't attack me on Twitter because I have an opinion. It's just an opinion, and that's the way it is. Like I know. One of my friends constantly attacks Michael Jackson, like deniers. I guess we're the deniers now. I don't know what we are. I don't know what we are called. Michael Jackson fans.
I don't know. But I went. I'll just say
I'm undecided.
And as am I. All I would say is that I was strong. These are money grabbers. To after the documentary, going, holy shit, this guy might have fucking done that. That's where I went to.
Yeah.
And I came at it strong, like, I have like no doubt about. But it was like if it's fake. It's like you said, if he's a pedophile, greatest pedophile. If it's a forgery, it's an excellent fucking forgery.
Yeah.
Because it was incredibly compelling. Different stories filmed at different places. Again, the narrative, right? According to those people.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those, like the description of what he would have them do and their feelings about the whole thing. Like you said, like maybe he was like, oh, he did this to me on the train. And that was like, well, that wasn't built in 94. In the movies, it didn't, shy of like how old they were and what parts of their career they were at. When they talked about the different molestations, they didn't really date it.
Yeah.
Except for the first time they met him or whatever. But they were like, it would happen.
Or maybe they didn't date it, but maybe he said it happened in the train station, but the timeline of when he was hanging out with Michael Jackson to the timeline of the train station being built, they didn't match up.
Yeah, it could be. Like, I know these boys started young, and then, like I said, they would have these repeated events. It wasn't just like, hey, he did this to me, and then we just stayed friends and whatever, and I never thought about it or talked about it. They were blatantly like, when he would start spending time with me again, it would start again.
Yeah.
And
they must have all hated Macaulay.
Well, they talk about that. I think it was Jimmy talked about how he was supposed to be the kid in the black or white video. And his mother was saying how, it was interesting because like they called us and they said, oh, we're going to put you up over here in this apartment. And it was like, oh, normally he got us a hotel. And they were like, and then she's like, and then they're like, we're gonna, you need to rent a car and drive to the studio. And she's like, that's very strange. He'd always send a car for us.
Yeah.
Take us there, everything like that. Like everything was always there. And then she was like, so it was weird that they put us in this little apartment and we had to go rent a car to get to the studio that day. And she's like, and well, exactly. But from what they were used to, as I was saying, he pulled out his money. He wined and dined everybody.
Yeah.
And then they said that, and it wasn't, Jimmy was in the video. It was supposed to be in the video.
Yeah.
It wasn't until we walked on set and saw Macaulay Culkin there that we knew exactly what had happened. Like he had been
bumped.
He picked someone. Well, he had a whole new kid he was focused on because it wasn't just like, hey, we hang out, we're dancing the show. It was like all day, every day, holding hands in public and walking in the limos. It was like, that was like his, relationship. That was his significant other at the time, according to the narrative. Right. So it was just, it was interesting to see and how the stories, the mothers, the kids, all of them, how they described what life was like when Michael Jackson was close to them. It was all almost identical, not exactly identical, but again, like you said, if you're writing a story, it can't be perfectly exact.
Yeah.
So if it was written, but if it wasn't, it was just like, and they kept saying like, we didn't have it then. In fact, it was Wade coming forward that supposedly, inspired or gave Jimmy the strength to come forward, and their wives are in the documentary saying like, well, I didn't know any of this.
They also went to the other people and asked them if they would be a part of the documentary. Right. And they said, no, we weren't. No.
Yeah.
So they specifically went out the 6 alleged kids.
Right.
And they found the 2 that would work with them.
Right.
So, great.
Yeah. And I remember too thinking like when Wade was like, he tried to sue the Jackson, whatever foundation or whatever. They were like, Oprah asked him, it's like, so why, if this is about coming forward and everything like that and telling the truth, like why suing? And he goes, I don't care about the money. He goes, I didn't ask for a lot. I don't care about the money. It was that he said, I just know that I had gone in front of the court and I had lied. And part of my denial and part of not honoring the people who had the courage to come forward at the time, I made them look like liars. I made it harder for them to move on. I made their lives terrible because I had an opportunity to stop it from happening. And I made them look like they were crazy and that they did this, that. And he goes, and because I lied on the stand, I wanted an opportunity to go back into court and to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Which is not one way or the other. Like there's part of me that goes, I can understand that.
Yeah. But
to help right the wrong psychologically.
But for me, it's like,
but
you've just admitted that you've lied on perjury.
Yeah.
Who's to say you're not lying now?
That's 100%. 100%. Right?
So gone. Not even admissible.
You've shown you're capable of that before.
Yeah. So I don't even believe you.
Yeah.
Like that's why it's focused on the other guy.
Right. But if he didn't molest you, then you did tell the truth before.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, oh, then you are lying now, but you weren't before, or you were before. It's like, that's the thing. It's like,
he shouldn't even be on the
so this way,
discredited.
If he goes on, if he goes back to court and says, hey, he molested me. Let's put it this way. One time he was telling the truth, one time he wasn't.
Yeah.
Because it's the opposite side of the coin.
Yeah.
So at least he's got the exact same amount of,
Exactly.
of hits.
So what else?
Are you good? Did you want to wrap it up? I was having fun.
Yeah, well, it's just a heavy topic, and I'm going to get attacked by everybody.
No, I doubt it. My listeners are so good because most of the time, if I'm just doing the regular podcast, we talk a lot about like enlightenment. I've had comics on this thing full on talking about like codependency and going to meetings and shit. Like they tend to.
Well, that's about as heavy as I get. Is Michael Jackson? Somebody
that doesn't even concern either you or I.
Yeah,
it's like
did
our favorite wrestler molest?
It's like this is a new conspiracy. It's like did he or didn't he? Where's all the proof? Building 7.
Right. Well, one of the things that I wanted to like I said, I asked is regardless of whether they did or not. But let's say in a hypothetical situation, because Cosby and Michael Jackson very different things. But despite that, does that affect the work? Like, is art not art anymore based on where it came from, right? Like there's fucking crazy movie directors that, made great movies, but they were Roman Polanski and shit like that.
Yeah.
But just because they're fucked up, does that mean that the art isn't art anymore? You can't enjoy art because of,
the thing is too is
like I can enjoy a sandwich that some right-wing guy made. Still a good sandwich.
But here's the thing. It's like the thing about the Michael Jackson thing too is like, why do we why can't the Michael Jackson fans just not believe it and just believe what they want to believe and then be left alone? Nobody at any point has taken Woody Allen theater movies out of the theaters.
Yeah.
No matter how many times Ronan Farrow comes and talks about his sister's molestation and comes forward and talks about it. And we all know that Woody, likes him young. Mm-hmm. It's why is, I just don't understand. Like, why does he get a pass?
Why does
Elvis get a pass? Why does what's his name? The Jerry Lee Lewis get a pass? Oh, because he married his 13-year-old cousin before he fucked her?
Yeah.
It's still a pedophile. It's just, it's
still someone who's too young to understand the decision they're making and what they're doing.
And not even with Jerry Lee Lewis. It's not just pedophile. It's also incestuous. Yeah. But yet, we can make a movie called Great Balls of Fire. We'll sugarcoat the bad stuff, and we'll make him look like a good guy. Get the fuck out.
It goes back to what you were saying about how just when you're telling a story, you get to tell it exactly how you want. You get to admit things.
Because the most famous story of Jerry Lee Lewis was he was on tour with I believe it was Chubby Checker, maybe definitely a black artist, and I can't remember who it was, but Jerry Lee Lewis had the number one song. In Great Balls of Fire was the number one song at the time. Chubby Checker, I think, who was the headliner, had 7 previous number one hits. Jerry Lee Lewis did not want to go on second last. He said, I got the number one single. I should go on last. And then they said, no, Chubby Checker has all the hits. He's going on last. So Jerry Lee Lewis went and put on such a performance, lit the fucking piano on fire, played the piano while it's on fire, and then just left the piano to fucking burn to the ground after he walked off stage. And the line that he said in the movie is just follow that. But the line in real life was follow that with an N-bomb.
Wow.
Right. So they left out the
fuck.
I'm like, he did not want to go on open for a black guy because he was racist.
Right.
It had nothing to do with him having the number one single, but yet they took that N-bomb out, and now it makes it look like...
Changed the whole narrative.
It changed the whole narrative. Yeah. It's like...
It's a performance thing and not
It's his pride, because he's got the number one hit. No. He was racist.
Yeah.
So it's just like...
Yeah.
But yet people still celebrate. His music still gets played on the air. Mm-hmm. People dumping music because of allegations and nothing has been proven. And now they're just like, well, we're not going to play the music. I'm like, that's just ridiculous.
Well, and it's part of that thing about human nature is ignorance is bliss. It's like, hey, here's a song. Let's just listen to the music and enjoy the music. Mm-hmm. But then when you start digging, take Michael Jackson and anyone you want, any artist. It's like, then you start digging, I want to know more about this artist. I want to know more about it. It's like, You dig enough on anybody, you're going to find something skeleton, something that they're not.
Yeah, Prince has a vault.
Prince has a vault?
He has a vault.
yeah, exactly. But that's an interesting thing. Like I think it's kind of like if you want to enjoy the art, enjoy the art. Mm-hmm. If you want to deify or idolize the person, the artist, well, then you start to, you dig deep enough, you're going to find shit. It's, I don't know, man. It's heavy conversation. And that's the thing. I mean, I've got shit that I've done that I'm not proud of. I just, like I said, when I was in high school, made those Michael Jackson jokes. Those are not the worst things I've ever said.
Oh,
but as a comic, sometimes we just try to say the thing that we know is going to bother people the most because that's fun to bother people.
Yeah.
Just to stir the pot. It's not because I believe what I'm saying.
No.
I've had to explain this to people before too, because it's like, when someone's like, why do guys like doing these gross, stupid things? It's like when a guy farts in a room and all of his friends are upset. It's not the fart that's funny. It's the fact that you're all upset.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If me walking down into a room dressed in a 3-piece suit upset everyone, I would do it occasionally. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why it's fun. Why do we chase our friends with shit on a stick? Why do we throw spiders at girls? It's because you're upset. It's not because of that thing. It's your discomfort, you being bothered is very palpable to us. So that's what it is. And it's I think that there's a lot of that in in prejudices and things like too. Like sometimes it's a real thing, mm-hmm. but I think the amount of people who are getting in shit for it, it's like when you say something, it's like, I've always said that racists are just lazy in the sense that it's like, you know what I mean? Like if you're trying to insult someone the fastest way possible, oh, that person's a different ethnicity, boom, hit the race. Well, they're the same as me.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Oh, they look the same. They're the same race as me. Well, let's hit them for their size or their beard or their glass. Like, it's just like, what's the fastest way I can hurt you? It's not that I really have something against that particular thing.
Yeah.
It's that, how do I hurt you the fastest? It's like, hey, get to know me. You could really dig up some shit that'll hurt me more than my stupid, my clothes or my weight or whatever it is. So I don't know. I don't know if there's any validity to that, but that's the way I look at it. It actually makes me less uncomfortable when someone tries to insult me because I'm like, there's way worse. I have things you could make me cry if you knew and threw in my face.
Oh, yeah.
But calling me fat, I'm like, hey, I have mirrors. It's not news to me.
Yeah. And I don't even know, fat people are the only people you can still make fun of and get away with. And,
right. We joked about that in the car the other night.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's,
unless you're a woman. Can't make fun of fat chicks.
Oh, no, you can.
Oh, can you?
Oh, of course you can.
Oh.
Yeah, you can. Monica, Courtney Cox had no problem putting on a fat suit in Friends and becoming a bumbling idiot.
She wore a fat suit in that?
In episodes of Friends, because Monica used to be fat.
Oh, I never.
And when she's fat, she wasn't hot. She wasn't cool.
Right.
She was this fat. A fat person can't fucking walk a straight line without knocking something over because they're so fat they can't control their jiggles. And this is what was Monica like? She's clumsy and she's trying to cook and she's eating everything because she's fat. I'm like, so
hacky.
It's so hacky. I'm like, I putting any actor in a fat suit and it just like, it's just stupid. And body shaming and fat shaming is still somewhat acceptable.
Yeah.
And
yeah, as long as it's not a person. If you put yourself in a fat suit and you dance around, well, I'm not making fun of anyone. It's like, no, you're making fun of every fat person right now. You don't realize you're not making fun of one. You're making fun of all of them.
Oh, everybody loves Tropic Thunder when Tom Cruise is in the fat suit dancing at the end.
Yeah, because he's playing Harvey Weinstein. That was apparently the inspiration for that. He's like, I want to be Harvey Weinstein. Give me fat fingers.
Yeah,
and everything like that. So at first I thought it was fucking hilarious, and the whole anger thing. They're like, that's Weinstein.
Yeah,
but. Now it's like, okay, well now we can not laugh at him because he's a horrible fucking.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like everybody like this is the problem with Hollywood is everybody knows who the predators are.
Yeah,
they're just too high up to get, and it's just like you just got to stand up and just take them down. Yeah. Like they've done some people, but it's just like there's so many more out there. Again, I don't know why they focus on the dead ones.
Yeah. Well, because they can't fight back. People are cowardly. Mm-hmm. Right? That's why people attack people on the internet instead of, if you have a real grievance, if you really stand behind your convictions, people on Twitter and stuff, you'd walk up to the person and you'd say it to their face. I'm not saying, attack them.
Yeah.
But if you really feel that strongly in what you're saying, then why not say it to their face?
Yeah.
Why not give them a chance to say something back? Instead, it's just, I'll attack you from my little bunker in the ground. I don't know. It's really one of the things I don't like about people. Like I said, when people are being rude, it's not even like, hey, I have something to say. I just want to hurt you.
Yeah.
You know, so what can I hurt you with the fastest?
Mm-hmm.
So they'll, like I said, they'll attack this stuff. I did a web series a long time ago where they had me playing a fat guy.
Mm-hmm.
They told me I was playing a dinosaur. And then when I got there, they're like, no, like they ordered dinosaur, but it's just you coming out. And they're like, can you wear like a Hawaiian shirt? And, actually, can you just take the shirt right off and just be like belly out? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No, like I think they're paying me $75 for the day. And I was like, no. And they're like, okay, we got you a prop. Like, so when you come out, you're eating the sandwich. They'd gone to Subway and they'd gotten a foot-long sandwich. It was just loaded with veggies and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then here's the thing. The sandwich wasn't cut into 2 6-inch like halves. It was it was a full thing. So I'm like, who told you guys how to write a fat person? I'm like, did you literally had to ask them not to cut the sandwich because they will do it automatically. You had to say, no, don't cut it. This is a fat person eating it. Like they want the whole sandwich in their hand at once. They don't want to turn around and bend over and pick up the other half, you know? And it was like loaded with veggies. I'm like, this would be all meatballs and cheese and bacon. It wouldn't be, it wouldn't be a salad in a bun.
Yeah.
But it was all these different things about just how like who, I hate when thin people write fat. You know what I mean? That's the thing is like, you don't know. And there's lots of funny things about being a fat person, but talk to us.
Yeah.
We'll tell you the annoying things. I have holes in my t-shirts that I have no idea where the fuck they came from. I'm like, oh, must have got snagged on something somewhere and didn't fucking notice. Yeah. I'm like, that's funny to me. Like it's funny. I had Crystal like at times she'd be like, what the fuck? I just feel her finger on my back while wearing a shirt. She's like, where did this hole? And I'll take the shirt off and there's a fucking, size of a quarter hole. I have no idea where that came from.
Just came.
I don't remember getting stabbed or anything like that. Right? Oh, the stains, Casey. The stains. The stains. Where do they come from?
Yeah, come.
I always joke about how I can only see. And I love your fucking joke from forever ago.
What?
But I always talk about how like when I'm wearing, I'm afraid to wear white because I don't know what sauces or whatever are going to get on it. Yeah. And it's funny because I'll look at a shirt and go, oh, I'm good. But I can only see as far as the horizon. Yeah. I don't know what's going on past. There might be stains. That's foreign affairs. Yeah. But you had that great joke about how, you live in Toronto and you wake up and every day you erection and you can see the CN Tower. Yeah. But you're looking at it from behind the Sky Dome. Yeah. That was a fucking great joke.
It's not a dick joke. It's a joke about your fat belly.
Yeah.
That's a joke that's just like, number one, I always call it Sky Dome.
Okay.
No matter what the fucking name of the thing is, everybody knows the Rogers Center as the Sky Dome.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a good joke because I'm not saying like the whole thing is I'm not saying I have a big penis. It's just because I'm standing behind the Sky Dome and like and then like when you look at the two together, the dick is way bigger than the stomach. But, right. But if you're like lying down looking at it, you're barely gonna so
yeah. It's a funny visual. And luckily it's the biggest city in the country, so everyone knows exactly what you're talking about.
Not only that, it's known everywhere in America. Everybody knows the Sky Dome is beside the CN Tower because of the World Series. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Blue Jays.
Yeah.
I can do that joke anywhere in the States.
Nice.
Everybody knows Toronto, the skyline, the two most identifiable things in the skyline.
Sky Dome
is the Dome and the CN Tower. That's it. So it's perfect.
Mic drop, kaboom.
Yeah, but it's usually a setup joke. It's never like that joke was always in my first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because
but it's great. And I like it. It's a clever joke. Like you said, I don't look at it like a dick joke. Dick's a part of it.
Yeah.
But no, I don't look at a dick joke, and I think it's a great visual. It's funny. It's a geography. It's a skyline joke. It's a city planning joke.
It's a city planning joke. I do love city jokes. Like I love like my favorite jokes this week are about Ottawa, about the 420 march happening where Kamar Babar asked me to go to the 420 march. And I was like, well, what are they marching for? And he's like, well, it's 420. Now, 420 is also Adolf Hitler's birthday.
Yes, it is.
I don't want to march for Hitler.
Right.
Not on his birthday.
Odd celebration, too, to have a march.
Well, I don't even have hooker boots, let alone know how to goose step. So, but the funny thing is, this 420 is also for smoking pot. So that's what the march is for. But the march, I said it, like, the march was a march for legalization of pot. It's legal now.
Yeah.
What are we marching for? Now it's just bragging. That's not cool. So I said, I marched in the past, so I don't have to march in the future.
Right.
And that gets the laugh.
Yeah.
And then I talk about having an American friend up, and he says, those buildings are beautiful. What happens there? And he's talking about Parliament Hill. And I say, mostly yoga. And then I said, and construction.
Construction and yoga.
Yeah, because for those of you who don't know, in the summertime and in the spring and in the fall, on Parliament Hill, they do yoga at noon. And you'll very often see the hill filled with people just doing fucking yoga. And I think it's quite funny, but quite cool as well. And then
you can't do that on the White House lawn.
You can't do that in the White House lawn. No, you can't be doing. Trump hates yoga. He
would take the mothers though. He would go. That'd be a lot of pussy grabbing that day. Go out front and just grabbing. I'm an instructor. I'm no one knows yoga. But I don't do Trump impressions, but no one knows yoga better than me. Yeah. I'll tell you the pose.
I know the greatest yoga. I eat some of the Yo Play is my favorite yoga ever. I love the fruit.
Ever.
It's delicious. When I put it in, I don't even care if the date's expired on the yoga. Yeah. I love to eat it's yogurt. Is what you're thinking? Yogurt is an exercise.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite pose is presidential.
Yeah,
that's what.
Yeah,
I've been holding that pose a very long time.
He's gonna win. He's gonna win the next election, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Like that's the thing too. Is like. If you are a Trump supporter and you come out and you tell people that, you're vilified. Like, you're the fucking problem. And it's just like, I just don't know. You know, you might have one or two reasons why you like Trump and this and that. Like, look at the last election, I voted for Trudeau. In the previous elections, I voted NDP.
I voted NDP. Yeah, I didn't
NDP is the party that I relate the most to. But Trudeau was the only one that said he was legalizing pot, and that's something that affects my everyday life.
Right. Well, that's the thing is you have to have. My position. I'm not a big political guy. I'm not. I fucking hate the news. I just so many things I can't do anything about. Mm-hmm. I said this before. It's like when you show me a video of like China having a eat dog festival. I'm like, I can't affect that.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I can. Very unlikely, but I don't think I can affect that. So thanks for just ruining my day telling me that that's a thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or if someone shows a video of some guy beating a dog, oh, let's make sure this never happens. How? That already happened. Yeah. I can't do anything to stop that guy happening. You just made me feel bad about something I can't. And I find that the news is varying degrees of that. It's like, hey, did you know there was a tsunami that killed a bunch of people? I'm like, great. Was I supposed to do something about it? Yeah. What could I have done?
Not enough squirrels.
Thanks for telling me.
Not enough squirrels water skiing on the news. Too many tsunamis.
Dude, my whole Facebook feed is animal videos, like the cute animal stuff. I don't actively do it, but every now and again I'll see a video. I'm like, and that's getting shared because that's fun.
Yeah.
And I'm also very empathetic. I feel horrible that there's so much bad shit happening to people and animals and stuff. But I've just been like, yeah, fuck news. But in terms of my political stuff, I've always been like, you should vote. A lot of people are like, well, I don't like the candidate, so I'm not voting. Vote or take it away. It's like. Ward used to tell me that about eating at stand-up shows. He's like, a lot of places you go and they'll offer you a meal or a drink or something. He goes, take it, even if you're not hungry, even if you're not thirsty, nibble, have a drink, but take it because there's the amount of places where like they'll offer to the comics, they're like, oh no, we're good. And then the next year they don't offer it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So just varying degrees of that. It's like vote, or eventually if there's just so many people that don't want to vote, I mean, they'd be more than happy to just decide amongst themselves who gets it. So vote. It's important. If you're like, well, I don't know the candidates, or there's no one I want to vote with. Okay, well, that's on you. That should be your only job in terms of government, is that once every 4 years, you actually sit down for a couple of days and you figure out what people are running on and what their platform is. And then just vote for the one that affects you. I don't expect anybody to I don't think everyone should vote left or everyone should vote right. I think people have different values. Just find out which one claims to have the same values as you. Yeah. Or get as close as you can to it. That's it. But don't be like, I'm not voting. Fuck, these guys suck. It's like, well, what do you know about them? Nothing. Well, that's not their fault. That's your fault for not knowing. So I guess I'm just in a very long way. Good on you for going, hey man, I normally vote for NAP, but this is something that actually matters to me. And it's the closest thing that I think is going to affect my life. So you get my vote. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
No, and that's the thing is, like, I'd rather listen to what the people are saying and voting for what they, like, and the thing with Trump is a lot of people do feel that they can relate to him. And that's the number one thing.
Can't read either?
What's that?
I said they can't read either.
Or whatever. Maybe. Who knows? But people always want to feel that they can relate to the politician. They want to feel that they can have a beer with the politician. Like, they can sit down and have a beer. That's the type of guy you can sit down and have a beer with. That's the type of politician.
I feel like they would just be sitting there telling fucking racist one-liners to each other.
Well, what do you think? What do you think happens during a beer in a bar? Yeah,
that's the guy I'm gonna have a beer with. Yeah, because that's what you want to talk about.
But he's gonna win. He's gonna win it again. They don't even know who's gonna run against him. The people.
He already beat the devil. It's just like I love how Burr refers to Hillary. He's like she's a made guy.
Yeah,
she's got the blood money and all that stuff, and all of her tours like. Yeah, she's a made guy, but yeah, Trump just coming out and I don't know. I think again going back to Burr, he says the last election was 3 a.m. at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go home with somebody. The choices aren't good, but you got to take somebody home. So who you got to go with?
Norm Macdonald goes he goes there's actually I shouldn't do his material on stage. On the show, but.
You gave him credit for it. You're not taking credit.
Oh, well, Norm Macdonald, he just had a joke about. He's like, he goes. A lot of people ask me what I feel about Trump, and he's like, I think Trump won because he was the only man running. I go, sure, there was a woman, but what a fine time for that fucking experiment to happen.
Yeah,
and that's the way he delivers it, type thing. But it's just so funny. And then he goes, there are books that you can read that they say you can't read a book by its cover. But there's one book you can read the entire book just by its cover, and it only has 4 words on it. And the book is What Happened? Hillary Clinton. So, and that's the thing is like
what a fucking great title for a book. What happened?
Yeah.
Which almost makes you look stupid just having that title.
Yeah, because
you can't even reflect.
But he's so right. You happened. And it's like you're the type of women. You're the type of woman that women hate.
Yeah.
It's just like
this. Okay, so this was we should wrap up soon just because I feel like I'm stealing your whole day. But I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun.
Yeah. But we should wrap up soon because I got stuff to do too.
Yeah. Was the whole watching it unfold. So Bernie was my guy. Bernie, I believed in that guy.
Bernie, but the problem with the knock on Bernie is he's an NRA guy.
Oh, is he?
Yes, but everything else he's great on. Because remember, Bernie was out the last election. Bernie was out there.
Yeah.
And then what happened? The Miami gay club shooting. And then Bernie disappeared.
Yeah, because the NRA.
Because the NRA argument. And then that's, you want to get rid of Bernie? Have a mass shooting.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that I really didn't like was after he was out, he was like, you got to support Hillary. She's the one. And I'm like, guess what, fucker? You're the one who gave us all the reasons not to support her.
Yeah.
And now you're just like, you got to support her. I'm like, nope. Hillary, I don't respect because
she just
her husband cheated on her.
Yeah.
And she stuck around for the money. Well, guess what? You want to lead the country. You've already shown that your values are someone can deceive you and then you'll just let it slide. That's not somebody I want leading my country.
Did you ever see where Norm went on The View and he's like, how's everything going? He goes, aside from having a murderer as a president, I think we're all okay.
Yeah.
And then immediately Barbara Walters like, no, we're not, no, we're not going down this. But Norm was like, when somebody like, what? And he goes, oh, Hillary and Bill Clinton, they killed someone. They had someone killed. Do you not know that? He said it on The View, and it's just like, but it's true. Like they were involved in a murder and a cover up.
Oh,
and apparently, it's crazy. It's crazy. That he's just such a badass. He's just the
Norm?
fucking cool. Yeah, he's the coolest.
I like his stuff a lot. I was never a big fan of him on SNL. Weekend Update I liked, but I just didn't like him in sketches.
What are you talking about? You know what? He says that himself, and I called him. I call bullshit because Norm is brilliant in sketches. He's a brilliant. You're telling it
wasn't for me.
Well,
I love his stand up.
Well, what about so do you realize if Bob Dole would have won, Norm would have been Bob Dole for 4 years? Norm's Bob Dole was great. Bob Dole. Bob Dole's in the real world. That was a great fucking
the way
sketch.
he constantly refers to himself. Yeah. I'm not saying everything, but just
wait.
overall.
I'm going to name some more sketches.
Okay.
His performance of David Letterman, the David Letterman sketch. Yeah. Like, it's so fucking great. They only did it once or twice, but that was enough. There was another great Norm performance where, where he used to do Larry King on the show. Fantastic. Like Norm said, I don't do good in sketches. I'm like, you're brilliant. Turd Ferguson. Come on, Burt Reynolds. The fucking Norm Macdonald, Burt Reynolds. Like the Celebrity Jeopardy.
He could do characters, but I guess it was that I didn't like when he was just an actor in a sketch. Like,
because when he had to play himself, he was horrible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't like him in sketches.
He's not a good actor.
But he also wasn't delivering like comedy. Like I like his take, so he disappears into a character very well, I find. And I like his stand-up. But in terms of just him as a cast member, because there were some cast members that they were always great, whatever. Like Kevin Nealon was great. You put him in whatever, and he would always do a great job. And his characters were good, and his stand-up is good. But and here's the thing too. I don't like David Spade's stand-up. But he's a great sitcom actor. Like I loved him in Just Shoot Me.
Yeah. But Norm is great at impersonations.
Yes.
And nobody ever realized because he downplays it. And he's always been good. Brad Lyons will tell you that Norm does a wicked Howie Wagman.
Okay.
And Norm used to always do a wicked Brian Mulrooney back in the day because that's who was the prime minister.
Right, of course.
So like he's always been able to do impersonations. And when you watch on Saturday Night Live, there's maybe one sketch that I love that Norm did because he wasn't in many sketches, but that he did where he wasn't in a sketch. It was Sylvester Stallone was the host, and Norm is in a car accident, and he's with a woman or with someone else, and he's in a car accident. He's in the car and he's dying, and Sylvester Stallone shows up and he's like, "Somebody give me some help! We gotta get this guy out of the car!" And then Norm's like, and then Norm goes, "Wait a minute, aren't you Sylvester Stallone?" He's like, yeah, but that's not important now. What's important is we get you out alive. Oh my God, I'm being saved by the guy who was in the guy that was in Rhinestone. And all he does is the sketch turns into Norm just shredding apart Sylvester Stallone's IMDb.
Yeah.
The part he's like, there's one part where he moves, he goes, "Stop!" And he goes, "What?" And he goes, "Or my mama sucked." Yeah, or my mom will shoot sucked.
Yeah.
And he goes, and so at the very end he dies. And then they're like, "Oh, we wouldn't save him." And then Will Ferrell shows up, and Will Ferrell's the paramedic, and he's like, "Whoa," he goes, "Oh, he's got a video here. Rambo." And then he goes, "Oh, maybe he was a fan of mine after all. Oh, nope, sorry, it's a porno. It's called Rambone. I'm sorry." And that's how the sketch ends.
Yeah.
But it's very funny that
and it's fun to see the actual actor there taking the shit at the same time.
Exactly.
Too. Yeah, it's not just making fun of someone's career, but you get to basically see them.
And you also have that famous story of Norm during the Twilight Zone sketch where Pamela Anderson had the pig nose. So there's this famous sketch.
And I'm sure her tits hanging out too.
Well, so Chris Kattan was all excited. He's like, "I'm going to make out with Pam Anderson. I'm going to make out with Pam Anderson. I'm going to be in a sketch with Pam Anderson," And Jim Brewer tells a story, and Jim Brewer was like, Kattan was always like that. A hot girl would come on. He's like, "I'm going to make out with her. He's like, "Okay, whatever." So he goes, but Norm was like, don't anybody put me in your stupid sketches. I just do Weekend Update. Don't put me in your fucking sketches. He's like, but when Norm was in a sketch, he always nailed it. And they said they were doing a Twilight Zone sketch. And, so during the dress rehearsal, Norm's like not taking it seriously. And Chris Kattan's like, "Norm, you got to do the Twilight Zone voice. You can't be He's like, "Imagine if you will, the Twilight Zone." He's using his regular voice. And he's like, "Norm, do the sketch right. So they're about to go on the air. And he's still razzing Kattan. And he's like, "Norm, you better do the voice right. Are you going to do the voice? Are you going to do the voice right, Norm? You're going to fuck it all up for all of us."
Wow.
And then this
little bitch.
And they're counting down. They're like 5, 4. And then Norm goes, "Hey, Pam, Chris Kattan's a huge gay." And then he's like, "Ah," and he goes, and then it goes, "And you're on." He goes, and then Norm goes, "Imagine if you will." He does the perfect Firelight voice. Yeah. And Jim Brewer goes, "Just put Kattan in his fucking spot." And he goes, Norm is the absolute pro. And I love listening to Saturday Night Live guys that idolize Norm, that make, that like, because he's just like, he's my favorite, like, of all time. I don't think he's the best cast member, but I think he's the best Weekend Update guy. And I think he's very underrated for everything else that he did on the show.
Well, apparently his very last, like, this is what it said. Can't remember where I read this, but it was like he got fired because his Weekend Update started with right after the OJ trial. He opened the Weekend Update with, this just in, murder is now legal in the state of California.
He's also the first person to coin the phrase fake news.
Oh, is he?
He used to say, this is fake news. He used to call it the fake news.
Yeah.
So Donald Trump takes credit, but Donald Trump didn't. Norm was saying fake news in the 90s.
Oh, yeah. And also Trump has let it known that he loves watching TV. Like when his tweets are about the ratings on a show and not something important that a president should be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then he doesn't give a fuck.
Well, I think Trump, like, as much as he likes being president, he'd much rather be back on Celebrity Apprentice, and doing that.
He just wants attention. Honestly, he's insecure and he wants attention.
His favorite part
and he got a shitload of it running for president, but now he doesn't get the attention he wants. He wants to be on TV and everything like that. He wants to be back where people don't watch regular presidential stuff as much as they watch the election, right?
Yeah.
And the run for it, the campaigning.
Yeah.
So now he doesn't get the attention he wants. So it's like, okay, we'll go back to the stuff that gets me attention.
So, so I love SNL. I'm a big SNL fan.
Do you still watch it?
I still watch weekly, but the best thing is now
weekly, really?
Well, the best thing is you can watch them all the sketches on YouTube now.
Right.
That's the best way to watch it now. Is just watch the sketches what you want. I still try to watch full episodes every now and again, but it's very difficult because of our jobs.
Right.
But when it comes to, I love debating the greatest of all time. Who are the greatest cast members? And what I have for my arguments is I base it on two separate categories. Because when Rolling Stone came in with the top 145 fucking cast members in order, and Norm was the last, I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
He was 145?
Yeah, they put him dead last.
That seems way too far.
Robert Downey Jr. should not be ahead of Norm Macdonald.
Was Robert Downey Jr. a regular cast member?
Yes, he was.
Really?
For 1 year. So anyways, I base it on two things. I base it on, number one, what you did on the show and how well you did it, and your effect on the show and your effect on pop culture, and how big you were on the show.
Right.
And how important you were on the show, and how many characters and everything like that. So that's number one. It's like, did you dominate the show? And then number two is your career after leaving the show. How well did you do in your career after you leaving the show? How well did you dominate? But
that's going to reflect on your Saturday Night Live career, how well you did afterwards.
Well,
if you're categorizing them for like how good of a cast member you were.
Well, because the thing is like a lot of people, like if you're just judging cast members, like, because I think a lot of people look at Saturday Night Live like the X-Men of comedy. This is a school where they go to be really, really good. This is Chris Rock analogy.
I can see that.
But but like when you make Saturday Night Live, you're expected to go on and have a career afterwards. It's going to be great.
Yeah. So not so much the X-Men as the Xavier School for the Gifted.
That's what I mean.
Sorry, I thought you meant like these are the best of the best. I was like,
no, but some of them
I see what
are.
you're saying. You're going there to learn to be X-Men. Yeah.
So I think to be a great SNL person, not only did you have to do it while you were on the show, but you have to continue. You have to continue doing it through your career afterwards.
Right.
So with that said,
well, then Norm for sure.
Well, Norm
is high up there. You've got
no. I don't have Norm up. I don't have even like my top five are very top five is very easy.
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin was never a cast member.
I thought he was.
No,
I thought in the early days
he was always a guest.
No. Well, Bill Murray for sure.
Bill Murray was only one season.
Yeah, but that still counts, right?
Yes, but
Chris Rock as well.
Chris Rock was only a couple of years as well.
Yeah.
So like Bill Murray, you look at the after career, brilliant, fantastic, but only one season on the show. Same with Chevy. Chevy only one season on the show. Bill had longevity. Sorry. Bill had more seasons. Bill had like 4 seasons. Chevy only had 1. Okay. So Bill is better than Chevy, even though Chevy was better on the show maybe than Bill was originally. But the fact is Chevy's career afterwards was fantastic. But but his show on the show, even though he's only on 1 year, that puts him below Bill Murray, who had more years on the show and just as great as career, actually a better career afterwards than Chevy Chase.
Right. You're going to have guys like Will Ferrell on there then.
Well, Will Ferrell's number 3 on my list.
Oh yeah. You
Number
got Chris Farley.
Chris Farley
Didn't have a huge career
well,
afterwards,
but you
did
die.
movies.
The die early really helps you, and it keeps you up. But Farley's not top 10.
No, Sandler obviously on the
Sandler's
list
number
because- Yeah. So who's number one?
Number one.
Sandler, Farrell, number one. Now here's the thing. My SNL, like I knew it during the Sandler Spade, those kind of days.
Farrell
so
could-
I don't know a ton before. or after.
Farrell could pass Adam Sandler because
You didn't put Dennis Miller in number one.
No.
Okay.
Because again, it's what they've done on the show. How much like Adam Sandler was not as valuable as Will Ferrell was on the show. Will Ferrell was dominant,
But
much
Sandler's
like the number
career
one.
post is so undeniable.
Sandler's only made like 5 bad movies that did not make money. Even the movies that he made that were terrible, they all made money.
If we're going on the capital part, but in terms of a bad movie to watch, like as a fan, I spent the same amount on each one. And some of them I'm like, I'll give you more.
Yeah.
More than 5 I did not like.
But the thing is Adam Sandler with Happy Madison being so successful and the way he looks after his people and the way after. But the thing is Will Ferrell is becoming that too now, going into the production side. And so eventually I think Will Ferrell will probably pass Adam Sandler because of what Will Ferrell did on the show was greater than Sandler. Sandler was a secondary player that rose because like he wasn't Dana Carvey.
No.
And he wasn't Phil Hartman.
Number one, you don't Mike Myers number one, right?
No, Mike Myers is a hack. Mike Myers is the type of guy that, he's not, Mike Myers is not even friends with anybody from Saturday Night Live except for Lauren.
Right.
He's the guy that kisses Lauren's ass, and I think Mike Myers is a one-trick pony because he uses that Scottish accent and everything. He did it in So I Married
Fat
an Axe
Bastard,
Murderer,
Shrek.
Fat Bastard, Shrek. If it's not Scottish, it's crap was on the show.
Right.
He does it over and over and over again, and it's just enough. So, but number one is the guy who saved the show. Eddie Murphy is the greatest cast member, and not only that,
I wasn't sure if Eddie Murphy.
and not only that, Eddie Murphy is the highest grossing African American actor in the history of film. Some people will argue Samuel Jackson, but Samuel Jackson was not.
I wasn't thinking that. Morgan Freeman came to mind, but I doubt it.
No, it's Eddie Murphy, and the reason it's Eddie Murphy and Samuel Jackson. But the thing is Samuel Jackson's in movies like Jurassic Park.
So
that's
not
not
money automatically.
And Star Wars and all this stuff. They're not Samuel Jackson movies. Every movie Eddie Murphy's in is an Eddie Murphy movie.
Right.
Samuel Jackson's first movie was an Eddie Murphy movie.
Really?
Yeah, Coming to America. So,
cool.
So Eddie Murphy saved the show, and then none of that has had the most brilliant fucking movie career, even to this day. Like Oscar-nominated performances, hilarious fucking franchises, everything that he did, like and hills and valleys, but he was always able to come back.
Right.
Vampire in Brooklyn, Nutty Professor, boom.
Not even Professor 2. Yeah, exactly.
The Crumps, yay! But like he always was able to come back, and he always is. So Eddie Murphy's my number one. Adam Sandler is my number 2 right now. Will Ferrell's number 3, and then number 4 is Tina Fey.
Yep.
Tina Fey had a brilliant career on the show. I'm not a Tina Fey fan, but I can admit.
But 30 Rock afterwards is huge.
30 Rock was big for her, and you know what? Mean Girls is one of the greatest movies ever.
She wrote that?
Yeah, she wrote that while she was on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
I love Mean Girls. It's my favorite girl movie next to maybe Drop Dead Gorgeous. Both of those movies.
Yeah, Drop Dead Gorgeous is a great fucking movie. Hysterical.
Are fucking great dark comedies. They're both dark comedies.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Dark motherfucking comedies that are powered by brilliant women.
I only give it to Drop Dead Gorgeous only because I don't feel like Drop Dead Gorgeous was made for younger girls. Mean Girls, I feel like you get the teenies watching it, and then the adults getting the darker humor.
Yeah.
I feel like Drop Dead Gorgeous adult humor.
Well, it's definitely the darker of the two.
Yeah.
Like,
oh fuck, it was funny. That was a fucking funny movie.
it is. It's very underrated. So then
Who's number 5? Just because you gave us 1 through 4, and I feel like just to round it out, unless you know all your.
No, 5. I have Dan Aykroyd, original cast member. He's a Ghostbuster. He's a Blues Brother. He's had a great career. Onward, nominated for Oscars.
Yep.
Still produces stuff and still is in stuff today.
Yep. Hometown boy.
Yep. So
for
Dan
anyone who doesn't
Aykroyd.
know, Casey is also from Ottawa, and as is Dan Aykroyd, as is Norm Macdonald, as is John Doerr, Jeremy Hotz,
Rich Little.
Oh fuck, a lot. I hope you guys know who Rich Little is. Speaking of great impersonators.
Yeah. It's too bad Norm had Rich Little on his show. Brilliant. It was great. And Norm was like asking him to do certain prime ministers because they were his mom's for favorite impersonations. I love that. Those are my top 5. And then, as we go down, like they're you would go farther and farther, and like the different years and the different categories. Like obviously, Amy Poehler has done very well for herself on the show and afterwards. But then you have like Sherry Terry dominated the show. But where the fuck did she go?
Yeah, a couple little movies. Same with Molly Shannon. Molly Shannon did a couple Superstar, whatever. But now she's just a big... No, I'm not thinking of the wrong person.
She does little pieces here and there, but I love Molly Shannon. But she'd be, for the girls...
I was thinking, who I was thinking of was Mo Collins. Mo Collins does a shitload of voice work now. Mm-hmm. That's Mad TV, different monster.
And yeah, so there's just so many. Like the original cast... Jane Curtin has had a brilliant career, like Third Rock from the Sun, Kate and Ally were hugely successful shows, as well as her run on the fucking original thing.
Right.
But then of course you have Gilda Radner, who died early. I think the people that were great on the show that died early, I just sort of put them all clumped together. Like I put Belushi, Farley, Radner, just all one number 10 or something like that. Like, these are the fucking people that had it all set up for them.
Who knows?
Yeah, they could have been, and unfortunately, they all died early.
Yeah. Rob Schneider. He was
a guy who did not really have much on the show,
right?
And really did not have much after the show.
You don't think so?
Well, everything he has is like he's
a big fish out of water guy.
That's his movies. But everything he has been given to him by Sandler.
You think so?
They're all Sandler movies that he makes.
Yeah, but we don't.
He even jokes. He's like, "Welcome to my house on Cribs. This is the house that Sandler built."
I know, but I'm saying, but if we're talking about the career they've had since, like, are we talking about how much of it is based on their own merits or just the career in general?
Just the career in general.
Because I think Deuce Bigalow is great.
Yeah,
I got to give Deuce Bigalow is great, but he started to do all of his movies were fish out of water. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm a guy who's a gigolo that doesn't know how to be a gigolo. I'm a guy who's a man who's an animal. I don't know how to be an animal. I'm a guy who's, I'm in prison. I'm Big Stan. I'm in prison. I don't know how to be in prison. It's always a fish out of water characters for him. I'm this, but I don't know how to be. Rob Schneider is a stapler.
Yeah.
From South Park. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
It was like they were throughout the course of an episode, it was just constantly these Rob Schneider trailers. Mm-hmm. Rob Schneider was a regular guy until one day, like the friggin' needle on a record, he becomes a carrot. And now he's finding out that being a carrot's not all. It's just so stupid.
Yeah,
but that's basically every Rob Schneider movie. But I think he's been in a lot of stuff. But yeah, he hasn't. Grown Ups is just a great opportunity for them to hang out and make money together.
That's all that is. But I love it. I love it because
was Kevin James ever a cast member?
No, Kevin James just plays Farley.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's like that's gotta suck when they're all talking about things back in the day, and Kevin James is like, "Do you want to hear a King Queen story?"
Even King of Queens, I don't think was around back then.
No, they're like, so,
It's interesting, too, how like we were talking about Ghostbusters earlier, but how the cast, it's funny, because that's like a half and half SNL cast, half and half SCTV cast.
What's that?
Ghostbusters, right? Because you got Murray and Aykroyd from Saturday Night Live, but then you have Harold Ramis and what's his face? Rick Moranis from SCTV.
Yeah, but the thing is Aykroyd, it was a Second City guy from Toronto originally. Right. So he would have known all those guys. And so was Harold Ramis. Harold Ramis was a Second City guy from Toronto as well.
Yeah.
So even though he was American, like they went from Toronto to Chicago back and forth, right?
Yeah.
All the time. And a lot of these guys met like in fucking Jesus Christ Superstar was production where, Martin Short met Paul Schaefer in that fucking production.
Yeah.
Like, they all met each other and all that.
Oh, yeah. There's always, and it's also, if you're doing a sketch show, you're aware of what other sketch shows there are and what's going on. Like, you make friends with the
Well, that's the great thing was when Martin Short was on Saturday Night Live, Norm said, we'd like to do this Jeopardy sketch, but it's basically just half-wits. He's like, I want to know if you will let us do a half-wits, but we're going to use celebrities, and we're going to make it Jeopardy, so it's not really half-wits. And they said, yeah, well, Joe is the other writer besides me, so they called Joe Flaherty, and Norm asked him for permission if they could rip off Halfwits and make the Jeopardy sketch, which is now a legendary fucking Saturday Night Live sketch.
Yeah.
But if you ever go back and you want to watch the Halfwits, just type it in YouTube, SCTV, Halfwits, and it's so fucking funny.
Yeah. Because
Martin Short does that character with the bad skin complexion.
Yeah.
And he's so fucking dumb. He doesn't get anything. And the others are doing their. It's such a great thing.
I loved Martin Short's Jiminy Glick character.
Yeah.
Just how weird an interview. He's so fucking odd.
There's somebody.
And that's another guy, fat suit. Just put on a fat suit and be a fat weirdo.
But I didn't mind him because he wasn't making fun of the. Yes, he was making fun of the grotesque things about him, but the character was so over. Well, let me just tell me about a little thing I did.
Yeah.
You know, the high to the deep voice. I was. Well, what about if we went?
And he wasn't making it. Wasn't about being fat. It was just part of that character.
No, he's annoying.
Yeah,
like fat people. You know, they're always like, "Where do we want to eat again tonight?"
Yeah.
Martin Short.
It's even hard to hold your voice up sometimes when you're fat.
Martin Short is great, and his book is awesome because it's all about. I've had a great career failing upwards. Everything I've done has failed, but I've proceeded to move upwards somehow, and I've been entitled this great life. And it's really true. It's like fuck yeah. A lot of his movies bombed. You know, like maybe. Three Fugitives was a hit and fucking Three Amigos, but anything else with three not in the title did not do well, which was all of his other movies, you know.
Yeah.
So what about Hungry I Shrunk the Kids? Rick Moranis. So
yeah.
You know. All right, who brought the dog?
Yeah. Oh, great line. One of my favorites. Well, listen, I'm going to give you back your afternoon. I had a great time. I just don't want to steal your whole day.
No, this was great. I enjoyed it.
Thanks for doing it, buddy. You're in Ottawa, so just anyone who's listening to this, of course, when it comes out, Casey Corbin is available in Ottawa at Absolute Comedy is available. He's in Ottawa. You got to come check him out. You guys are going to be getting this Friday morning, so just know that you got 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturdays,
but
1 show Sunday.
If you're in Kingston, you can come out and see me in Kingston. And if the week after that, if you're in Hamilton, you can come see me in Hamilton. So
where are you at Hamilton?
The Levity Comedy Club.
Sweet.
So yeah, and then after Hamilton, Halifax. If you want to see me in Halifax at the Yuck Yucks, so you can see me there. So
nice. There you go.
Yeah.
So, and you have an album that's relatively new.
Different jokes.
Do it.
But you can check me out on Spotify. Vampires Are Popular and Turtle Crossing are also on Spotify as well.
They can't get them on Apple?
You can get them on Apple. Apple Music has all those available, as well as iTunes.
Is there somewhere where you prefer that? Is there a better place for them to get it for you?
Well, if you want for free, Spotify or Apple Music. But if you want to purchase one, go to iTunes and purchase a CD there. Different Jokes, Vampires Are Popular, and Turtle Crossing. My 3 CDs that are available online. Nice.
Thank you for being here, my friend. Guys, go see Casey. He's hilarious. He's one of my favorite guys to work with. We always have a good time. Thanks for doing the show, buddy.
Don't judge me because Michael Jackson. I'm just not convinced yet.
I'm going to watch Spotlight. You watch Finding Never Leaving. We kept calling it Finding Never. It's Leaving Neverland. So
yeah,
poor Finding Neverland has gotten a black eye over the course of this episode. But thanks for being here, buddy. I had a great time.
No problem. Thanks for having me.